Okay, why am I getting USB disconnect noises? That's not... that wasn't the deal. That's not what we agreed to. Hey, T-Rex. I guess I'll put that there. So what do we have here? Is this muted? It wouldn't surprise me if I had muted this. No. Let me go to the sound option in the emulator. Nope, that's fine too. Okay. Maybe there's just no sound, as is not infrequent. Today is better than yesterday. Trust me, yesterday I was not having a wonderful time, and I kind of wish I hadn't done a stream yesterday. Did not have a great time with it. Anyway, but I'm in a somewhat better mood today, and decided to Z some X. You know, one of the forests and what? Huh, okay. Interesting thing about ZX Spectrum and related platforms is it seems to me that it's an established thing that video games on the NES, etc., didn't really have stories, no kind of narrative attached to them. Partly because the platform kind of grew out of arcade porting, where that wasn't a thing either. But partly because I think it would have introduced a lot of like localization effort, and would have taken up a lot of space and memory and whatnot. But you look at a lot of these British computer games, and they actually have like lengthy intro story rolls. Now, I did just look at the year on this, and this one is from 1988. So I guess maybe at that point, yeah, see, it does seem like the end of the text is messed up, doesn't it? I was letting it roll around again so I could see if that was the case. This is on the ZX Spectrum. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely corrupted. Let me switch machines to a +2. I often have success doing that sort of thing. Let's load it up here and see if let's just... Oh! This one also has sound. Oh, that's weird. I hit space and it paused it. Instead... Whoa. That was weird. Okay, well this is obviously working better. Uh-oh. I'm pressing fire on my joystick and it's not working. Oh boy. It's not that. Or that, or that, or that, or that. Oh, ruh-roh. Well, it might not be the right type of joystick. That's set to Kempston. Let me go joystick 2 and set that to Kempston as well. So I have my Xbox controller set up as my default joystick, but it's entirely possible that it's not... Oh, there we go. Okay, this game just expects you to use a Sinclair. Yeah, we're back on the Specky. Alright. Summon Sprite. Pause. Okay. Alright. Whoa. Wow, those are really nice graphics. Like, that's very smooth animation. Alright, so we don't have finite ammo or anything like that. Do we have to jump over this tree, or... what am I doing wrong? Or, oh, is it a flip screen scroller? Do we just have to go this way? We do. Well, I can't make that jump, right? Oh, I see. It's one of these. Oh, huh, okay. So this is the rare example of, like a ZX game that actually took lessons from sort of the more evolved platform games that came out for game consoles. This is letting me do things like change direction in midair. Not direction, but I can change which direction I'm facing. Okay. So still kind of has like British game syndrome as far as sort of swarming you with guys. Now, this is interesting. This is an obstruction that I guess I just have to shoot over and over until it's gone. Now, I had a... There we go. Oh. Okay, I think that was sort of a screen clear that I just wasted. Oh no, I died. Oh. Well, sort of. It seems like that was just one of several lives that I have. So that was sort of just like making my health bar go down. So the Spectrum did not actually have sprites. I'm going to pause for a moment and explain this. The Spectrum did not actually have sprites. All it had was a... you could just turn any pixel on the screen on or off. So you're just looking at a simple pixel by pixel frame buffer. And then overlaid on that is another bit plane that defines which colors are used. But it's a much lower resolution. So I think it's, what is it? 8 by 8 pixels, I want to say. And you can only define 2 colors inside that, I think. It's something like that. But basically, yeah, it can only change color every 8 pixels. So you have to decide if you're drawing 2 things over one another, which one wins. And games made different decisions. Some decided to let the background tiles win, and they often had sprites that were very hard to make out. Some decided to let the sprite win, which resulted in that effect where the sprite is followed by a trail of color. More or less, has sort of an aura of color. It's kind of debatable. You know, it kind of depends on the game which one is really preferable. But it's just an intrinsic limitation of the platform. Whoa. Oh, man. Huh. So this seems hard, but not necessarily, like, deeply unfair. Although there are some bits here. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do here other than, I guess I could, if I still had that screen clear, this would be a great place for it. Man, I'm trying to hurt the wizard every time I see him, but it's not... Well, he got me. Okay, alright. Finally killed that bastard. It just feels like the overwhelming problem with an awful lot of these games is that the developers felt that the primary verb in the game should be fight. Like, if they were going to put enemies in a game at all, they seemed to think that they needed to make them sort of ever-present, and never give the player any respite. And that's sort of the that's the enduring legacy of this era and you know, platform and whatnot. Is just this oh, I think I just got another screen clear. We're very low on health though, unfortunately. Oh, this guy moves faster than me. Oops. So what just happened there is I paused when there was a sound effect playing, and it didn't properly clear the sound effect, so that's an interesting effect. So yeah, this game looks very interesting as an exploratory platformer, but as is so often the case with ZX Spectrum games, it's kind of it's kind of ruined by the fact that you die so easily. You know, if there were much fewer enemies, this looks like it would be a lot more fun. And you know, they're not really adding anything to it. Once you fought one enemy, you fought them all. So it really feels like it's that same old complaint. The same old complaint I always have about this platform, about so many of the games on it, that the developers would come up with these brilliant ideas. Wow. The developers would come up with these brilliant ideas for video games, and there's a lot of stories from there's a lot of stories from the development of video games where they basically developed a game that seemed like a great idea, and then when they made it to the end of development, or so they thought, they developed everything that they had in mind, and then when they made it to the end, they discovered the game was not fun. This happened with the Prince of Persia, the original one. Jordan Mester made it all the way to the, what he thought was the 90% mark, and just felt like the game was missing something. Like it was a game and it was visually impressive, but it was just missing something. And one of the people he worked with apparently just kept coming by and saying, combat, you've got to have combat. It won't work if you don't have combat. And he kept saying, I don't want to have combat. I don't have the space for combat. This isn't a combat-focused game. But in the end, she convinced him to add combat, that it was mandatory, and of course it was. The game wouldn't have been the same without it. And the trouble is, imagine if Prince of Persia had added combat like this. Imagine if they'd kept that deeply... Hey there, thanks for joining. Imagine if they'd kept that deeply compromised... No, that's not a good way to say it. Imagine if Prince of Persia had been released with the same combat system that it had. That is, one where, hey Lynx, every single encounter with an enemy is its own challenge, because you're basically like playing a little rhythm game where you've got to like memorize the pattern of animation frames. But instead of having like one guy every 14 screens or something like that, they instead just had these dudes just peppered all over the place. Well, yeah, sort of, with the lives and continues, sort of, except that, yes, that's how they started, but no one could figure out how to get away from them, and you can't blame them because it's difficult. It's really hard to figure out how to design around that. If the player doesn't have some kind of serious threat of lost time, then they're essentially just playing on infinite lives at that point. Which of course it took us decades to make Super Meat Boy, which finally acknowledges that you should just let the player die and instantly respawn, because the game is difficult enough on its own. You don't need to punish them by deleting their progress. It took 30 years for anybody to figure out that that's what they should do with home video games. And nowadays, an enormous number of games just simply don't have a game over concept. But that didn't happen until the 2010s. Video games still had some kind of punishing, lose a bunch of progress mechanic for the longest time, because just nobody knew what to do about it. So I don't necessarily think that this game suffers from arcade mechanic, fetishization nearly so much as I think that he just didn't know what else to do. Games like Metroid, for instance, that began to suss out. By the way, Metroid was out by the time this game was. Beyond the Ice Palace came out in 1988, so Metroid, I think, predated it by a year or two. I'd have to go look. But anyway, games like Metroid introduced the idea that enemies might not even attack you. They might just be there, and you could just walk by them if you wanted. And if they, and if you got lucky. A lot of the enemies in Metroid don't even really come for you. They're just sort of there, and they're doing their thing, and you have to get by them, right? That sort of heavy exploration thing is what a lot of these ZX Spectrum exploration titles deserved. But again, as discussed many times, by 88, it's entirely possible that nobody who developed this game had ever seen Metroid. It's not out of the question. And even if they had, they might not have understood it. I didn't. I didn't understand Metroid until my 20s, when somebody explained it to me. And so I think it's entirely possible that they just didn't realize how brutal this, didn't need to be. They've certainly taken steps to try and back off from that, right? You're given 8 hits. You basically have 8 hit points before it goes game over, and that is a tremendous amount of life for a game of this era. Even for 88, that is incredibly generous, all things considered. So, they were trying to work around this, and I think they just didn't know how to not put gobs of enemies in the game, because that's just how it was done. And another aspect of this that I don't know the answer to, unfortunately, is it may be the case that carefully selected enemy spawn positions were not possible due to the limited amount of RAM on the system. We're harkening back to the problems that... sorry, one moment. Come on. We're harkening back to the problems as discussed with like Super Mario Brothers, where if you were able to go left instead of only right, they would have to remember the state of every single item you'd touched. And likewise for this, if they had bespoke enemy spawn points, they would have to have a pair of bytes in RAM at all times for every single possible enemy spawn location. Whereas it's a lot easier, or it's a lot more practical even, to do something like, I don't know, maybe define the world as a bunch of like 128 pixel square regions that enemies can randomly spawn inside. So you spend a lot less storage on enemy locations. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe they just didn't have the RAM to position every enemy in the game individually. How can I know? Without talking to the developers. Nope, that's gonna... Oh, I have one more life. I keep picking up knives, but I don't know what they're doing. Oh, that's interesting. Whoa, 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 we're going. Nope. Oh, come on. Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Like, how did they playtest them? How did it... Wait. Okay. How did they playtest them? Did they have anybody else playtest them? So on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, remember, the ever-present game logo is because rendering the entire screen at like 20 FPS, like this one was doing, is actually really, really resource intensive. And the CPU is not actually fast enough to do it and also do significant game logic. So very probably they decided to render a much smaller viewport because it just, less resolution lets them run a faster frame rate. And yeah, that's true. This may also have been An Guy. Boy, this sure is giving me a view of many things that could happen in this game. This is Bestial Warrior. Boy, look at that poorly rendered rifle. Hey, Z-Super. Oh. The machine just restarted, I believe. Let's try this again. Oh, that was annoying. Space. Cellular. Okay. But when we go forward, is he going to crash again? Oh, there we go. Okay. We'll do joystick mode. And then Jugar. Alright. Okay, it's a different kind of joystick, so it's probably going to be a Kempston. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, let's try a Sinclair 1. Nope, that doesn't work. Start again. Okay, yeah, that's restarting the game. I am pressing joystick. Oh, it may not have registered joystick the first time. Okay, let's try this again. Put this back on Kempston. Nope, still not working. Let's try Sinclair 2. Still not working. Okay, having some problems here. Boy, howdy. Really having some problems here. Let me go to the machine settings. Peripherals, general. Yeah, the interface to play. Oh, I have Kempston joystick turned off. That might be the problem. Let's try this again on Kempston. And let's go ahead and restart. Joystick mode. Drugar. Oh no. It's still doing it. Just make sure that's not any of my other joysticks that are responsible for this. Nope, doesn't seem like it. You know, I wonder if it's... okay, it's probably expecting me to use, like the Sinclair Interface 1 or something like that. So we'll try the keyboard input. Keyboard, redefine. Oh. Oh no, I don't know what these... I don't know the translation for these. I could go translate them, but I'm just gonna start it up on the defaults and see what I get. Hey Nadia. Wow, I keep having problems where I launch this and like I press space at the wrong moment, I guess, and it crashes. Alright. Okay, OP, Q, A, and then there's fire. Okay. Yeah, keyboard saves an awful lot of time. So we've got another game where we can change direction in midair. For real. Oh, who's that? Hello. Oh no. They just respawn infinitely, really? Okay, we got a better gun. Oh, this is unplayable, isn't it? Yeah, this is completely unplayable. See, again, you can tell that they've made like an interesting exploration platformer here, and then utterly hogtied it by giving it an absolutely absurd enemy spawn rate. They've given it like all the enemies fall, you know, not random, but basically you know, mathematically defined paths that you're not realistically going to be able to predict. You know, you could tell that they've got an interesting thing going here, which you're never... yeah, look at that. You're never going to be able to play on account of... they never... they just didn't design it to be user-centric, right? So, like, if you're standing on an enemy, you take massive damage every single every single tick. Every CPU cycle, you take enormous damage. So, you know, it's just unplayable. And it's a shame. It doesn't need to be that way. Like, again, how did the developers test this? How could they have survived for even a minute? And given that you only get like 3 lives, what were they imagining the gameplay experience to be? Look at that. Everything's faster than you, so it all just catches up with you. Like, how could you... literally, how could this be played? And it's such a shame because they clearly had good ideas. And they clearly had ambition. But this is what they ended up with. I mean, I don't think any of the Spectrum developers wanted the games to be like this. I don't think they did. There's hints, you know, throughout various games that people were trying to rise above this and just struggling. It's such a shame. I'm actually going to put that one and the previous one in the interesting folder because they genuinely are interesting, even though they're unplayable. The firing rate is only limited until you pick up a machine gun power up, which I did several times. At which point you can rapid fire and it's perfectly usable. Didn't seem to make any sense or any difference. So I don't know. Okay, yeah, this is a Tempest. All right. I do not need a Tempest. I have stopped the tape. This is some basic type in, I think. Oh wait, no. Is this a tape mag? Oh, nope. Yeah, this is some type or some tape or type in that came with a magazine. Huh. Path is drawn as a map. 785. Forward. Okay. Start the tape. And then it crashes. Yeah, okay. Alright, good times. Good times. No, I'm not currently subdividing the interesting games because the whole point of this project was... The whole point of this was actually to go through and collect, like, the ZX Spectrum games that you never hear about. So I wanted to get all the stuff that wasn't Dizzy and wasn't Manic Miner or Jet Set Willy, and wasn't RoboCop. You know, not the licensed titles, not the big name ones that everyone knows about. I wanted to go through the ZX Spectrum library and find games that were not... I don't know if they were necessarily popular in their time in the way that several of those games were, but games that were, you know, ambitious, as I'm always saying, with the goal being that at some point I'm going to do a video about it all. You know, at some point I'm going to do a roundup of all of these. I'm going to write about a whole bunch of them, and when I do that, I'm going to replay a whole bunch of them, and then I'm going to go ahead and document them at that time. So I'll play each one again. And I'm up to the point where I have 156 games in this folder. So, like, I'm way past my original goal. I could certainly go ahead and do it at any time, really. Part of the reason I haven't is because I don't know how to. I don't know how to split these up, how to do, you know... I have trouble making videos that aren't, like, standalone... Wow, this is so British. Biff was rude to his mother, so she threw him out of the family treehouse. This is there are like 7,000 ZX Spectrum games that are about men being thrown out by women. But yeah, I don't know how to actually make that video. I started this project back before, like, sort of the themes and styles of my channel changed considerably. And so MSX is a whole different story. They're barking up a different tree. I'm pro Scub, actually, Nadia. But basically, can I please pick 2? Hello? I would love to pick 2 for the Kempston, which I do actually have. Why can't I do that? That's weird. Oh, flip screen mode. Okay. Whoa. Oh no. Oh, I see. That, like, draws the bar at the top instead of the bottom, I guess. Wow. This game actually has options. That is super rare. Oh, it's from 92. That's why. This is super, super late. Anyway, yeah, I can't formulate the thoughts about it right now, but in short, yeah, I want to make a video. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to, but I've been setting this aside, and eventually I want to do something with it. whatever that thing is. I don't know. All right, so let's try Sinclair. Let me go to my joystick options here and change this to a Sinclair joystick. And we're going to get killed before we can do anything about it. Oh, wait. Is that guy not... Where? Oh, this is a dizzy. Oh, no. I mean, we could have guessed that, but still. So are those not enemies? Oh, no. They are. They are. Instead of showing me them being harmed or anything, I just get a message that says status. If I get touched again, it's going to say status. Okay. There we go. Yeah, this sure is a dizzy. What the hell? Oh, is this a boss? Man, who even knows what they want me to do in this thing? I have to read the manual. Which, like, I'm not totally, terribly offended by, but still. They kind of look like a bubble. Status. Not so okay. Yeah, this is one of those late Spectrum games. It's like they figured out a bunch of technical stuff. Like they made big inroads on a number of technical issues, but basic like gameplay design stuff is still really suffering. We have the old boot and the torch and the empty glass. I'm not doing so great given that I'm trying to play Biff. Let's try to play something else. Alright, Sinclair. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh no, it gets even worse. Oh no, an isometric game. These are truly horrible. Oh great, this one's time-based. Yeah. I have like 19 seconds to do something. Yeah, this guy's doing it. He's making it happen. What? 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 That's clearly a key. Why are you not picking it up? What on earth? Okay, that's pause mode. You didn't make it, you dimwit. Wow. Wow. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Wait, one moment. Interface to main menu, start game. Okay, let's play this game. Oh, this must be from, yeah, 85. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, no. This is a Jet Set Willy is what this is. Sorta, kinda. What are my goals? What are my motivations? Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, Tedious Tim's Adventures in Time Sink Cavern. I love this one. Okay, I've obtained item. Weapon! Is that money? Do I get hurt by money? Because those are clearly enemies. Why would money hurt me? Okay, climb up. Game over. Oh boy. Oh, you know what? That probably is Thatcher, and I know why. If you turn off the music, the game runs a little faster. So that's what I thought was interesting. If we go to Screen Kit, look at that. We actually get, this is a level editor. And it has a section, of course, for celebs. There we go. I was remarking on this the other day because I didn't know about the... oh, geez. Hang on just a moment. Oops. What the hell? Come on. Search. There we go. So I gotta look this name up. Matt Hancock. I had not heard about like exactly what had happened with this Matt Hancock character. Like I'd heard about it, but you know, I whatever. Yeah. But the reason this came up is because many months ago, somebody sent me a link to Duke Smoochum, which is the Duke Nukem mod that some guy I don't recognize is making that was inspired by the Matt Hancock scandal. And what I didn't understand is so someone sent me a link to a video of it or something like that, like a half a year ago or longer, like whenever the guy started it. And I load it up, and all I see is, okay, great, Greg's is here, and there's like chip bags, and we've got... It didn't make any sense. I had no idea why it was called Duke Smoochum. No one had told me about the scandal. So I had no idea what the name was. That just seemed like some lol random nonsense. And the rest of it, as far as I could tell, was nothing other than jokes about British brands, which is a thing. I swear to God, if I go to Twitter right now and open up any I'm sorry, British people who are watching. If I open up your Twitter profiles, I am 100% positive that I'm going to see a joke within the first 5 tweets that's on the same general wavelength as an American going, haha, Walmart exists. Did you know that? Like, it seems like the Brits are absolutely 24/7 obsessed with how funny it is that they have chain retail stores. I don't know what it is, but there's just like a handful of like convenience stores, department stores, and like various like fast food brands that are just the only thing anyone ever seems to talk about. And in that same kind of vein, once I found out like what the whole bit was for, with Matt Hancock and whatnot, it's interesting. No, I haven't I haven't heard anything else about the man. I'm sure he's terrible. All politicians are. Tesco, there you go, Tesco. It's just like this huge national joke. I have no idea why, but I swear to God, I cannot talk to a British person for more than 5 minutes without them mentioning Tesco. It's going to happen, guaranteed. I don't know what this place is. I do not know what this business is. What is it? Nando's, I think, as well, just always comes up. And yes, that's the thing. It is a perfect... So American politics are very stupid by all means, right? But the thing is, most of the time, people can debate this with me if they want, but most of the time what it comes down to is we have invented a completely ludicrous hoax about an American politician colluding with like foreign powers or abusing their power or this, that, or the other thing. Something genuinely very bad. Or we have actually discovered that an American politician was in fact doing those things, right? Like they're in, cahoots with the mob, or they're just stealing money, or they're, sending information to Russian agents, or this, that, or the other thing. Every American, not every, but a lot of American political scandals come down to some kind of thing that actually matters. British political scandals don't. Except when they are like so bad that you wonder why there isn't a civil war over it. It really seems like UK political scandals are split evenly between you're looking at it and going, I don't understand why you people aren't like having and like overthrowing your government right now. Holy crap, that's bad. That's worse than we even do. And then the other like 97% of it is Nancy Pelosi weird clap. It's just like some politician 20 years ago said a word weird, did like an Ich bin ein Berliner moment, and people are still talking about it as if it's an actual political argument, like something that's completely unrelated to their job. So yeah, this Matt Hancock guy, maybe he does other bad things, maybe he is a terrible monster, I don't know, but nobody cares about that. That's not important. It's obvious to me. The only thing anyone thinks about, the only thing anyone cares about, is the fact that he technically violated this rule that was like, you know, somewhat I can't think of words right now, hypocritical, while cheating on his wife, right? And you'd think the latter part, like, because we tarred and feathered Bill Clinton essentially for that. Everyone knows there was no legitimacy. It had nothing to do with his job at all. It was just people being pricks, just being tabloid assholes. But as far as I can tell, the UK just turns that up to 1 billion. There's like 1,000 scandals a year, and every single one of them was like, this guy said, you know, green when he meant red. And then people are still talking about it 20 years later with all the solemnity of people talking about like Guantanamo Bay here in the US. Just like absolute, unwavering obsession over something that is, in no uncertain terms, a completely meaningless minor gaffe. It's just amazing to me. Like there is genuine real politics there, but it seems like most of the country, most of the culture just seems to be completely obsessed with these incredibly minor gaffes, and just you know, it's on par with like the time that I, you know, was the Grink there? You know, it's like it seems like nobody in British politics can live anything down. Whereas in the US, the way that gaffes work is this. Every single time it works like this time. Like this. People discover camera footage of somebody shooting one of their assistants. Just gun, right? Or they discover evidence of them, like, you know, genuinely assaulting somebody. The person in question either resigns immediately, or they immediately delve into a completely like just wacko, bizarro land, freakazoid, Hall of Mirrors defense, you know, that doesn't have any grounding in reality. But either way, 2 weeks later, it is over. Every single person has made up their mind, and nobody sarcastically recites all the details of it, right? That person either loses their job or doesn't, and then it's pretty much over, except for the people who are just out there in space, who are just like just have some sort of receipt to pull up for everything. And it's not that that person deserves to get off, you know, scot-free. It's just that we're so used to it at this point. All of our politicians are monsters. We know this. It's nothing shocking. No, I'm saying that in Britain, you cannot live down a gaffe. It will follow you for the rest of your political career. In the US, you can kill somebody, and 2 weeks later, it'll be forgotten, right? It's just night and day. So gaffes here happen, absolutely. But the only people who bother to remember them and ever bring them up are people who no one likes talking to. Like, just insufferable people who suck all of the air out of the room every time they start talking, and you're like, yeah, okay, all right, you're not wrong, but you're very boring. There's exceptions, but I'm just saying, like, most of the time, the little gaffes, I have not heard anybody talk about Nancy Pelosi weird clap in what, 2 years, 3 years? Like, not since it happened, pretty much. Like, a few weeks later, it's over now. And yeah, it is true that I forgot his name, but yeah, the politician who literally very likely lost the presidency, I think, because he did a weird yell during like a campaign thing while on camera. Yeah, absolutely. There's no nation that is free of guilt when it comes to like bizarre overreactions to gaffes. We're very bad at it. Just very, very bad at it. About just sort of extrapolating from some minor nothing. But I swear to God, it is the national pastime of the United Kingdom. It's just like, oh yeah, but back in 1982, this guy said green when he meant red, and it's that minor. It's that, or it's like, oh, he ran weird, and somebody took a picture of him running weird. Let's still talk about it 25, 40 years later. Let's still be relitigating it when there's nothing to litigate because it wasn't actually a problem. Here's just someone being like Elon Musk weird, basically, who is otherwise, are they competent at their job? Who knows? Doesn't matter. No one discusses that. The only thing that matters is that one time we got a picture of them with their foot in their leg in the air weird, and we're going to talk about it forever and ever and ever. It's just weird priorities. I swam to John. This game sucks ass. But yeah, just like the weird obsession with like caricatures of celebrities is of course this game has a section that says celebs. Of course it does, because somehow the United States of America, as broken as we are, as obsessed with celebrities as we are, the UK is still somehow more obsessed with celebrities. Except that they hate them all, is the thing. That's my perception, is that the United States is full of people who worship celebrities. The UK is full of people who think all celebrities are garbage, which like is closer to the truth, for sure. But there's nothing funny. There's nothing actually funny about drawing a celebrity with a large head. But this is a standard form of humor. I'm not upset at it. Really, I'm not. It's just so strange to me, the difference in priorities, where everyone in the U.S. is just completely obsessed with, or completely convinced that they have, everyone in the U.S. is completely convinced that their opinion matters, and that whatever they're saying, it's like, I'm going to win with this insult. And it feels like everyone in the U.K. is just like completely given up, but they're going to insult every single thing they see, which I can almost kind of, identify with. Anyway, why is celebs separate from nasties? I don't get it. Heyo. Gifts. What do we have under nasties? Show me the nasties. There we go. Oh yeah. So yeah, that was the first thing I thought was funny, is that they've got two different enemies, both of which are money. One is pounds and one is dollars. Separate sprites. They actually used up extra memory to have a buck instead of just a pound. Weird. That's weird. And then okay. And then conversely, let me just go ahead and put the last of my beer in the mug here. There we go. Conversely, this is a remarkably decent user interface, like all things considered. For a game from 1985, I'm fairly impressed at several of the decisions they've made with this editing interface. In particular, I love that they've divided the enemies between vertical motion and horizontal motion, because that's what it is, right? You got V and H. Yeah, that's good user interface design. I'm all about it. Oh man, let's can we? How do we? Oh. Trying to figure out how we increment the room. Press that. There we go. How many rooms are there? 19 rooms. Right, this is the last room. Or well, that's, I guess they sort of all tie into each other, don't they? So this probably is not, if you will, the end. Wait, can I not? Why can't I? What? Oh, you have to jump in order to engage the, yeah. Oh. Oh, right, because this is the playtest mode. Anyway, yeah, so, this game's not good. Never was gonna be, but, oh. We got an actual intro. Oh, okay. Let's do... Oh, I love it. This one only supports the Sinclair 1 joystick interface. Can't trust anything. Up, down, left, Right. Fire. Okay. When's this from? Oh, this is late. This is a Codemasters title from 1992. It's late as hell. Ooh. Oh, that's right. Haven't I played this before? Oh, that's cool. You can actually sort of charge up a... Well, not charge up, but you can ready a... Oops. Dang it. You can ready, I guess, what's he throwing, a rock or a coconut or something? You can, like, ready a projectile anyway. Oh, this game's anti-cop. All right. So wait, there's no limits on these, so I can just go hog wild? Oh, okay. Hamburger. TFW, you... Wait, so the fire moved? What caused that? Did I do that somehow? Okay, there we go. Okay, this seems ambitious. Oh, I wonder if I actually killed the fire. I didn't realize I could kill it, so I was just sort of blindly firing earlier, and I'll bet I hit it. That is an amazing name. Absolutely, like, no notes. Oh, no. I don't even know why I'm climbing this. You know, I don't know what might be at the end of this particular... Oh, gosh. This particular yellow brick road, but... shoot. Okay, so the fire randomly spawns, naturally. Yeah, what else is new? So yeah, in terms of like, there we go. Oh, crap. So I'm already like kind of captivated. When did this come out? Oh, 92. Okay. I had to refresh my memory. Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer that this sort of game could have existed in 1983, but just nobody thought to do it. You know, I don't think. Let's see. Is this a? Well, I guess this is a 48K game minimum, so I guess it wouldn't have worked on the original Spectrum necessarily. Although I've always gotten the impression that maybe the 48K was the best seller out of all of them. But anyway, what I'm driving at is it's a shame that this kind of game. This is pretty good. Like this so far, I'm surprised at the quality. Yeah, it does seem like it's sort of a. It does seem like it's sort of a. Was it Hercules in New York? Is the thing I'm thinking of? It does seem like it's sort of that. Sort of a fish out of water tale. Eating hamburgers. Getting like some soda pops or something. I don't know. Is it a beer? Can I Yep. Oh, it is a beer because now I'm walking backwards. Oh, that's really. Okay, all right. There's some good stuff going on here. Oh, and then I think that's a power down. We got glue. Oh, no. Oh, no. I figured the glue just froze your feet in place, but no, it freezes you completely. Wow, that's just unfair. Oh. Who's here? Wait. What? Yeah? I can't interact with whatever that is. Wish I knew. Maybe something later on unlocks it. Oh, whoops. Oh, damn. I really should have gone in there. Oh, something down there, I think. Can I get to any of these platforms? No, I can't. Oh, okay, that's just like a soda pop or something. Yeah, I think if I had held right as I was falling down that tube earlier, I probably could have avoided an awful lot of jumping puzzles, because I think I now have to do some Tony Hawk Extreme Platforming. Of course, while avoiding power downs as well. It's not that hard, but still. Oh, actually, oh, no. 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 Yeah, so this is Big Nose's American Adventure, and that's definitely going in the interesting folder. That seems like a remarkably competent platform game with kind of things to do and backtracking and exploration. So I'm going to go ahead and give that big ups. Now, that was called Big Nose's American Adventure, which kind of suggests that there's others. But he must have been a media property outside of this because there's no other games that I can see. Here is a multi-tape game, so I'm guessing it's a text adventure. Yeah, it's definitely a text adventure. Oh, gun. Oh, okay. Man. I love Problem Sleuth. The poor mice trying to run the rat race. Man. Oh, is it going to do that again? Oh, okay. Dang. Wow, this is, I'm kind of intrigued by this. The Big Sleaze is the name of this. This must be a parody. This is. Okay, yeah. Wow, huh. This is, this seems like, kind of an, Daria's watching Evo, and apparently the announcers are having trouble. I think they keep calling all stickless controllers hitboxes, but ruh-roh, that's only one particular brand. Can't do that. Really funny. Okay. Yeah, the Big Sleaze. You know what? I'm just gonna put that in the damn interesting folder because it actually is kind of interesting already. It's made by Piranha. There's a Big Trouble in Little China game here. This isn't gonna be good. Oh, this came out pretty fast. Movie came out in '86. This came out in '87. Wow. The hold the phone. Let's see that one more time. Okay. I don't remember who was asking. Somebody was asking about the Sprite Color. That, what you're seeing right there, that is what it looks like when you apply the color bitmap, but without applying any actual luminance bitmap. So basically, these are all of the 8x8 pixel blocks that define the color on the screen, with the color you're seeing, the red, the blue, the turquoise, etc., being the background color. And then the actual image is composed of a 1-bit bitmap that you can see being drawn over the top inch there. So that tells us that the very first row of 8x8 blocks is set to a gray background with a black foreground. And then below that, there's one row of blocks that are set to a blue background with a white foreground. So it's going to be blue until you start turning pixels on, at which point it turns white. Then we switch to a row that is mostly blue with white, and then it turns to this red with yellow on top, but you don't see that yellow until it starts actually writing the pixels on top of it. And then as we proceed here, it forms the actual image. And what's really intriguing about this is notice that, is my mouse cursor visible? It is. Notice that down here we have red, but here we don't. And the reason for that is, what they've actually done is, in order to get slightly higher fidelity, they've actually flip-flopped the colors. So this region is a red background with a yellow foreground. This region is a blue background with a red foreground, which allows them to draw these nice curved red borders over the blue background, but they have to go to the yellow anytime they're near text. So they gave the text a good padding so that they would be able to fit the curvature of the swoop, the red swoop, around it. I've never seen a game actually illustrate it so clearly before. And then obviously down here at the bottom, this is a blue background with a light turquoise foreground, which of course you again can't see until it starts. Or no, I'm sorry, that's a turquoise background with a blue foreground, and I'm not sure why they would do that. Why not flip-flop it, keep it all blue, and draw the turquoise? Oh, that is a clever optimization. It's more pixels. It's more pixels. The see, this region down here, in order to make this region turquoise, all they had to do was write about 24 bytes. No, sorry, not even that many, because they're like, it's 3 or 4 bit color, something like that. So basically, all they had to do was to set all of these 8x8 blocks to turquoise in order to make all of this bright. And then when they wrote the character graphics on top of it, they only had to write these pixels. The rest they left alone. If they'd flip-flopped it, if this was a blue region with a turquoise foreground, they would have had to draw every single one of these turquoise pixels. So by doing it the other way around, it saves them a bunch of CPU time. Wow, that is cool. Can I get... I'm sorry, everyone. I need to reload this one more time because I desperately need to get a screenshot of this. Okay, and... there we go. Okay, so I got a screenshot there. Save as PNG. I gotta save a few of these. Man, this is cool. Most games just like don't draw that slowly, or they define the color afterwards or something. I don't know. You just never get a chance to see that. Alright, so what is the actual game? It's going to be completely insufferable. Okay, so this is joystick based. Huh. Oh, I see. Okay, so you hold fire if you want to attack, and then you press up for a high punch and down for a low punch. And then your sort of team... I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know what the plot is. Your team sort of just jumps out when you have to do a fight, so all the fights are one-on-one. I don't know what possible strategy you could like reasonably have here. I wonder if I can switch characters. So this is sort of like was it Kung Fu, the arcade / NES game where you just sort of walked forward and kicked dudes? I think that was Kung Fu was the name. I'm not taking a lot of damage, so things are going okay, I suppose. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't seem to be able to go in places. I don't... Oh, wait, he can just leave? Wow. It was very much a thing for a while for there to be like kung fu games where you would just kind of encounter the same enemy over and over and over. And that was, you know, good enough, I guess. Yeah, you can leave. Cops, if you're quick. Oh, wow, an actual, a stronger enemy. I won anyway. Yeah, you didn't end up tagging me with the sword. Or the dagger, or whatever it's supposed to be. I might be mixing this up. Was this a Kurt Russell movie? It feels like it was. Okay, yeah, okay, well, you know what? You can just leave then. Bye. Oh, a gun. Wah! Unfair. What? What am I supposed to do against a gun? I feel like this is a... You know what? I could totally change characters. Not sure how, but I definitely can. There we go. Okay, so now he's up front. So he's got, like, magic? Sorta. He's got, like, a Goku cloud. Oh. I won. There we go. Okay, here's our third guy. It was pretty much just a clone of the other guy without a headband. Oh, but he can do a Samus Aran flip. So how long does this go on? Just forever, or is this a Big Trouble in Little China Infinite Runner? It feels like it is. All right, this game sucks. I'm gonna say this one's not great. Okay, I've just received a tweet. Here is the tweet. Bro, just one more IKEA Kallax shelf, bro. I swear this time it's gonna work, dude. This time I'm gonna be so organized and neat, bro. I just need one more 4x2. Please, bro. Alright, yeah, Big Trouble in Little China, 1987 by Electric Dreams. Not good. Let's try another Codemasters game, Bigfoot. The way I said that has reminded me of a joke that I've wanted to see realized for a very long time, and I hope someday I have an opportunity. I've always had fantasies about being a filmmaker. If I ever make it to Hollywood, I'm gonna have a movie where this happens, where someone's talking to like a news anchor in an interview, and they use the word shit post, and she just goes, shit post? I just want to hear a news anchor say that. I want to hear shit post? People were making shit posts. A kind of post where, you know, that sort of thing. I will pay $50 to hear a news anchor say shit post in that fashion. I'm always thinking about it. I wake up in the morning. This is what's on my mind. They said they were making shit posts. The whistle go, whoa, whoa. Oh, please tell me there was a BBC clip of the word shitpost. Please tell me that they actually said shitpost. If they did, I gotta look it up. Oh, it was on the podcast. Oh no, it was on Brexit Cast. And she completely misunderstood what it meant. Oh no. Oh no. Well, still, can I get this clip? This is important to me. Yeah. Wow, I missed this whole thing. Apparently, a lot of people got upset back in 2019. Um,
Are we allowed to say posting? Beep. We can beep it out. I can beep it out myself. There's also this thing called posting, where exactly.
Explain.
so this is the thing. So podcasts suck, and I'm never going to back off from this. I would love to, but the problem with podcasts is that nobody does a podcast who is actually like ready for public speaking, as far as I can tell. And so they're all just nervous laughter. They're nothing but nervous laughter. And in this case, apparently, I don't know who this person is, but I have to assume they have some experience in actual broadcasting, and they're still just doing nervous laughter. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. I do not want to listen to like 2 to 4 white people nervously laughing at their own jokes. I don't want to do that ever. The only podcast where I make an exception for this is My Brother and Me, because they're actual comedians that are actually funny. No one else is. And I don't get why it is that every other podcast I have ever heard is just people laughing. Like, you could drop the needle wherever you want. Just drop it wherever you want. Laughing, and I delete the MP3. It's just bizarre to me. I don't know how people could listen to this shit. I've tried so many times. It's actually wild. The furthest I ever got in any podcast, if you could believe this, was a golf podcast. Simply because at that time I was curious about some things about golf. We're not going to discuss golf, but I was curious about some things. I went and looked up a podcast to see, okay, what is talking about golf actually sound like? Because I was like, what do people talk about this? It seems like it's kind of it doesn't seem like there'd be that much to discuss, but it turns out there's actually quite a bit. And I listened to No Laying Up, and it was a bunch of guys who actually have opinions on stuff. They actually have something to say about the thing that they're interested in, and so they're not just spending the entire time laughing. They sound honestly like professionals, and I can't name another podcast I've ever tried where they sound like professionals. And I'm beginning to think if even this one, these people who are professionals are also just spending all the time, nervously laughing. They're doing it on purpose. People are doing this no, it's not funny. Like, you don't need to laugh 75 to 90% of the time. But most podcasts I've listened to, oh yeah, it's nervous laughter. I can tell. It's very obvious. It's people who are not used to public performance. I know what that sounds like. And most of the time they're just not funny. They're not telling funny jokes. There's nothing to laugh at. It's people it's usually along the lines of generally a completely insufferable behavior I can't stand in any context, which is, I can't believe you said that, bro. I can't. Wow, you're so zany. Wow. I don't want to listen to a bunch of people sitting around and acting like they're wild for saying things.
Are we allowed to say posting? Beep. We can beep it out. I can beep it out myself. There's also this thing called posting, where
But yeah, I'm not going to play the rest of that because she got it completely wrong, too. Anyway. All right, so back to Bigfoot. Smallfoot. That's the joke. That's the joke I'm telling. So select option. Okay, you press space to select option, and then port 1 or port 2. Okay, that's on the +3, so I'm going to have to go with Kempston. Let me switch my joystick over here. Click, click, click. There we go. Oh, by the way, there's also... Wait. It's interesting that doesn't change the background. I think there's a number of games Sorry, my brother and me is guys laughing, but they're laughing at jokes that are actually funny because those guys are really funny. Also, a lot of the time, their humor is of the sort where outright laughing would make it not funny. So yeah, actually, they spend significant amounts of time not laughing. Often throughout the entire intro of a show, they won't, because the whole bit that they're doing is pretending that they're being serious, and they can actually do it, which is the difference between like actual comedians who know what they're doing and know how to like behave professionally, and people that are wasting my time. I want a munch. Squad. Anyway, Bigfoot. I was gonna say there's options to like change how it colors the game. I believe I'd have to check, but I think that might be A, because people still had an awful lot of black and white televisions in 1992, or B, no, sorry, this is 1988. Oh, there were a lot of black and white televisions. Or B, because, yeah, the ZX Spectrum does struggle with color, and just turning it the hell off might be a good way to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it, right? People on the Bim Bam, imagine this, laugh when something's funny, and not just because it's, I can't believe you said that! Wow! Which is every other podcast I've ever heard. I mean, that's the whole reason their energy is good, is because it's three people who actually know how to make each other laugh, and not just like weird brinksmanship bullshit. Anyway, I don't know if I used that word correctly, but I don't care. This is Bigfoot. Do I have a limited amount of whatever the hell I'm throwing? I don't think I do. I think I can throw as much as I want. Oh, boy, go up. Wait, what? What the hell was that? Oh, this game sucks. This game can go to hell. There we go. Next game. Whoa. Oh my god, Nadia. Don't get brutal. We don't need to lapse into that. Wow. This sucks. This is copy protection, and I don't think I have the ability. I don't think this one's been cracked. It doesn't say it's been cracked, so. Don't know if it's gonna. Whoa! Oh, hello. Why are we having problems? There we go. Why do we start out pointed at the ground? So our altitude is 500. What is going on here? Wow, this is not a good first showing. Like, not a great first foot forward. To just start out with immediately taking shitloads of damage. Okay, so we have a heading. We have an altitude. We're very low. Let's go ahead and... Can we gain... Are we not? Are we not low? Are we actually maxed out? Is that a 0? That has to be a 0, right? Oh, is this a helicopter game? This is probably a helicopter game. Oh, there we go. Okay, I am pressing O, and it is causing my altitude to climb. Theoretically. So let's see. Fuel revs. Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's almost certainly a helicopter game. That's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking that pointer on the reticle there, I strongly suspect that is telling me where I need to go, which would be a bizarre creature comfort for a British game, but whatever. And because we're a helicopter, the reason we were tilted forward is probably because that's what makes us go. So let's gain... Oh, you know what? Actually, I think we're pretty much on top of whatever the hell it is we need to do. So let's go ahead and come around, and then we need to level out. Okay. Alright. And then let's go ahead and... Oops, we're actually tilted backwards right now. Oh, okay, and in the map at the bottom, you see that green and then yellow and then red? I'm guessing that's proximity to a thing that we actually need to do. So let's go ahead and... Oh, maybe I'm wrong, though. Yeah, it's definitely an auto map, but maybe I'm wrong about how it works, or I don't know. So our heading is 340, which isn't that just sort of to the left? Oh, we crashed. Yeah, it's relatively impressive for what it is. Let me take a look at a different Biggles game. Well, that guy sure looked... Oh. Well, those are planes. Oh, but there are helicopters in this. But this is like World War I era. Wah. There we go. Okay. P and L. Oh, this is rough. Okay. All right. So ZXPL. Those are our steering controls. Oops. Oops. A daisy. Oh, it's this game. Okay. Yeah, we actually played this game some time ago. And the deal with it is... yeah, it's like a series of mini games, basically. Oh, cool! I love Pitfall 2. Or no, I'm sorry, it's Pitfall 1. Actually, is what I meant. Yeah, so this is like a pile of sort of mini games. Let me go to the interesting folder so here's the thing. I have to admit that I have been popping around in my ROMs folder all over the place and not really keeping track of what I've played and not played. So unfortunately, I don't really know where I am and what I've done before. I think I may have made it through pretty much all the B section because I'm looking now and it looks like I played the first Biggles, Bionic Commando, Bomb Jack, Booty, Bride of Frankenstein, all the way through to Bumpy, which is down in the U's. Okay. And then down into the C's from CA to CU. So I think I plowed through all of those. And then the D's, it looks like I maybe only got it to DE. All right, there must be more than that. Yes, there are. Okay, we're going to play some D games. D being a popular euphemism for dick. We're going to play some... I think we should play some... All right, anyway. This is a much better stream than the one I had yesterday. I deleted that one. I just got rid of it because I was in a really bad mood, and I may have been right about several things, but I still didn't like how negative I was being. So I just got rid of it. I had such a bad time with Elite Dangerous Odyssey that I just got like in a really goddamn miserable mood. And I just don't want anyone to, it's like I didn't say anything terrible, but I just, I don't know, it's just not, it wouldn't have made anybody happy, It's just one of those things. It's like, why would it, nobody wants to listen to this. Not really. They may think they do, but they don't. I don't want them to listen to this. I'd rather people hear me talking about, I mean, come on. I spent all of last night, like 4 or 5 hours talking shit on Elite Dangerous Odyssey, which it deserved. Maybe? But today, how many games have I said were bad versus how many did I say were good or, oh, look at that. Look what they're trying to do here. It's ironic that in the space of 2 days, I have given more praise to old British games than to a new British game. But at any rate, yeah, I just I didn't love yesterday's stream. It wasn't a good time. I'm having a much better time today. Okay, the thing I'm doing right now, is it appearing on camera? It kind of is, yeah, and it does look weird. And I should probably explain what the hell I'm doing. So let's have a brief interlude before I go and rip a piss. All right, so let's talk about the HOTUS. Wait, where's my chat? What the hell? Why is chat hidden here? There we go. Let's talk about the concept of the hands-on throttle and stick. So this here is the Panther, I think was the original name. I don't know if that's true anymore. But anyway, Rhino. Really? Is it? Oh, they are called Rhino. What the hell? I thought they were called Panther. Maybe they were also called Panther. I don't know. Anyway, so I have the X56 Rhino hands-on throttle and stick made by, well, okay, originally made by Mad Catz, I think. Then Mad Catz went under. I think they owned Scitech or were partnered with them. I don't remember. This one says Scitech. Nowadays, you can buy the same unit, but it says Logi, which is Logitech's stupid name that they decided to use, which they really should come back from because it's a horrible name. Logi is a horrible name. It sucks super bad. God, what a dumb idea. Anyway, but this is basically the same thing as the Scitech, and it was made by Mad Catz, and I'm guessing that either the Mad Catz tooling and everything was acquired by Logitech, or maybe, I'll bet if I go check, I'll find out that, like, Logitech bought the husk of Mad Catz. I don't know. I wonder now. But anyway, so this thing is relatively popular, and the reason for that is that it is the only one. I've talked about this before, but the idea that the flight simulator is a genre that exists is fake. The space simulator is also a genre that doesn't exist. Mech simulators don't exist. These are things that constitute less than 1% of the market. Like for every person who plays a mech simulator or a flight simulator of any stripe, like easily 100,000 people play like Apex Leg Hands, or whatever the kids play these days. Rust probably has more market share than every single simulator combined. These are only useful for simulators. Now, simulators used to be a huge part of the PC oeuvre, to the extent that IBM saw fit to produce the Easy Options by IBM Flight Yoke. Back, I don't even know when. When the hell is this thing from? Probably 1990 or earlier. And this is actually, this obviously is a game port joystick, so it's got analog, potentiometers. It's got trimmer pots in there. And what's interesting about it is that it actually moves more like a real flight yoke in certain planes than anything else you can buy. So it does this, right? But then the forward back is a tilt rather than a slide. Now, if you're in like a Cessna 18, any of the Cessnas, I think, I want to say. I think any of the Cessnas, pardon me, the yoke actually does work like modern consumer flight yokes, USB flight yokes work. They're all basically modeled after the Cessna approach, where you have a shaft that goes back into the dash, and you just shove it forward and back, it doesn't tilt. But there are some older planes, and there's some airliners, and there's some other stuff. Maybe some of the Cessnas, or maybe a Piper or something like that. I don't remember. I'm not that much of a buff on this stuff, that actually do tilt. And I like it. I dig it for a number of reasons. One is that it takes up very little desk space, and this is kind of a problem with modern flight yokes. If you buy a flight yoke now, the cheapest one is going to be the one that we've got upstairs, that I've been playing Flight Sim with lately. I couldn't do that today because Eva was on. Daria's watching that. But that's pretty much the cheapest one. It's sold by Logitech. I think it used to be Scitech. And it's called the... No, I forgot. Logitech G, I think is what they... Stupid name. Pardon me. It works well, but the problem is it has to be clamped to the desk, and it has a depth of about that much. And then the yoke itself sticks out another that much from it, because you've got to have all this distance to slide forward and back. Well, a lot of people don't really have the room for that sort of thing. That's a bit much to ask. A lot of desks can't be clamped to. It's just not practical. The clamps are often very weak and just super shitty. They suck, okay? It just takes up so much space. You've got nowhere to put your keyboard, etc. So you really have to reconfigure things around it. You have to build an experience around these damn things. And it is an authentic experience if you're flying a Cessna in the simulator, as well as a few other models. But it's not the only experience. And I mean, come on, like you're not going to always have a yoke as an amateur, as a not just amateur, but as a casual, that's the word I'm looking for. As a casual, you're not going to have a dashboard that perfectly matches every plane you're going to fly. So with that said, I think an awful lot of people would actually be happy with this kind of controller because it takes up very little space. You only need this much footprint on your desk. This is about half that of the yoke that we've been using, the Logitech G yoke. And it doesn't require any clamping. And this is actually pretty comfortable. It's pretty comfortable as it is. Like I flew with this in Microsoft Flight Simulator in DOSBox the other night, and it was not half bad. It felt pretty good. It's rickety. Let me see if I can get you the sound of this thing. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, it's got that sort of plastic, bending sort of sound to it. But other than that, it feels pretty good to move. I think people would actually love. I think the market would love to see a new flight yoke of this design. To the best of my knowledge, nobody's made one in 30 years. The buttons aren't in a great place. Like you have to really dig your fingers in to hit these triggers here. And these ones on top as well. And it's also, unfortunately, it seems to be a single stick type game port device. So if you're not aware, the IBM PC game port supports 2 separate sticks over 1 plug. That's a good point, Lynx. Yeah, that the Cessna probably actually sounds about that bad or worse. Because, a lot of those things do have ancient 1970s ABS plastic in them. So this is actually pretty much accurate. So anyway, this uses an IBM 15-pin game port, and that supports 2 analog axes and 2 buttons, and button 1, button 2. Now, if you then take these 2 buttons and you hook them up to the second game port, you can then have button 3 and button 4. Well, unfortunately, IBM chose not to do that, and that really, sadly, really diminishes the value of this particular stick. However, with that said, something I hadn't thought about until just now is this does still have 2 distinct switches up here, and it does have the cable. So it might be an interesting project to open this up and to add the extra 2 buttons that can actually be used. That might be practical. And the really strange thing about that is that it does have a throttle slider. And the thing about throttle sliders is that there's no provision for them on the original game port. So again, you only have 2 axes. So for a third one, you're going to have to spill over onto the second the second joystick input. So clearly this is a 2-stick device. But for some reason, IBM did not see fit, well, not IBM, we know they didn't make it, some Taiwanese company, whoever they contracted with, did not see fit to wire up these buttons to the other stick. And that may have been due to game compatibility or many other things. But at any rate, it's a bit of a bummer, and maybe something that I can correct. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so the simulator market for PC, I've talked about this a lot, that the PC used to be no good at action video games. It just couldn't update the screen fast enough, and it didn't have enough colors. And more importantly, nobody was going to shell out an extra $800 to $1,000 to upgrade their graphics in order to play a really shitty port of a Nintendo or an arcade game, even once those came along. Because remember, the Nintendo didn't even exist when the PC came out, right? The ColecoVision didn't even exist when the PC came out. So they were not planning for anything more than, yes, IBM took video games into account, but the video games that they were thinking of were Atari 2600 at best. And the Atari 2600 was incredibly advanced compared to what the PC was actually capable of, except in the sense that the PC was far more accurate and much easier to program for. But otherwise, the Atari 2600 really put the PC to shame despite being a good 5 years older. But the PC really wasn't built around this. And so when it came out, due to a combination of factors, mostly having to do with its graphics, but also sound, you really couldn't have a satisfactory action video game on the PC to speak of. And nobody had really come up with ideas like strategy games or anything like that. It would take another 4 to 5 years for anybody to start making that sort of thing. And then it was only over in Japan. There were war games, but they were pretty terrible. But simulators existed. There were flight simulators from, I think, 1982 was when the first one came out. It was a port of one that came over from the Apple II. And so that became the PC's mainstay. All kinds of simulators. Flight simulators, tank simulators, a la Battlezone. And we had submarine simulators. It had both combat and civilian flight simulators, of course, hence the triggers, and several other things. There were a number of simulators for the PC that didn't come out for any other platform, and there were genres that never came out for any other platform, at least not for many, many years. So it made sense to IBM and to a number of vendors to make... Shuttle, that's true. It made sense to IBM and a number of vendors on the PC and home computers in general to make simulator games, because at the time, the number of gamers total that were interested in using a PC for entertainment purposes, and remember, flight simulators and simulators in general only sort of, they don't really quite come off as entertainment. It's easy to see them as a more adult, more masculine, if you will, form of entertainment. So the PC was able to play host to these because they moved more slowly in a lot of cases, and they didn't need to be as detailed. Early flight simulators, particularly on platforms like the PC-88, I've discovered, actually in some cases consisted of nothing more than a black screen with just a few pixels scattered here and there to represent dots of like terrain. And it turns out you can make a flight simulator that simulates a night landing, which was actually the specific name, I think, of a software package I found for the PC-88 that did this. A night landing consists of a completely black screen with just a few pixels moving here and there. And it turns out that due to the ability of the IBM PC and other home computers to access individual pixels rather than having to deal with tile-based graphics, and the relatively high resolution of those platforms compared to game consoles, and their relatively high processor power, their ability to calculate complicated complicated mathematical calculations for 3D arithmetic, home computers were a great place to host a simulation of landing a plane at night. And so that was a thing. And wireframe graphics were acceptable for that sort of thing as well, because for a simulation, you're concerned about the mechanics. You're not so much concerned about the graphics. You know, that's never been a priority. Remember, there are people up until 2 years ago, there were people playing Microsoft Flight Simulator X, a game from 2006, because they don't give a shit about the quality, right? I mean, yes, they'd like it to be better, but they're perfectly willing to play a game that has an accurate flight model, regardless of what it looks like. So same deal. In 1982, Microsoft and IBM could sell you a port of Flight Simulator for the Apple II, which they did. That was the beginning of the venerable Microsoft Flight Simulator series. Was a port from the Apple II, written by one guy. And it was okay because, who cares if it's wireframe? Who cares if it's, abstract two-color visuals, as long as the flight model is accurate. And yeah, exactly. Elite was dots and some wireframes because it's a simulation more than it's a game. You're going to be playing make-believe anyway. So, anyway, with all that said, the flight yoke and other aircraft-oriented control market for the PC was extremely healthy for some time, but it was mostly focused on combat flight simulators in my observation. There were a few flight yokes out there for civilian simulators because there was MSFS, but for a period from the late 80s, I want to say, through to the late no, the mid 2000s, I want to say, maybe 2003, 2004, the PC played host to a significant number of combat flight simulators. Aces Over the Pacific, the various helicopter games. There were a bunch of them. There were probably there was the Jane's combat simulations from EA. There was a whole pile of combat flight simulators for the PC, and then they all just stopped dead in like 05, 07, something like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's been a single combat flight simulator released since the mid 2000s. Like, I think the last one was released before Flight Simulator X. So I think civilian simulation actually had a leg up on combat simulation, which seems kind of wild, but also you know, dogfighting's boring. It's really kind of a mess. It's boring and it's hard, and I was never able to really do it. You know, when I tried playing like Jane's ATF and whatnot, and it's just like it's really very abstract and not very exciting. And that's why most people's enjoyment of combat flight simulation is limited to arcade style stuff like Afterburner. You really have to cut it down because, you know, aircraft engagements in modern warfare in particular are happening on the scale of miles. You know, you're going to attack a guy who is all the way over there, you know, in another county basically, and you have to get all the way over there and get behind them, or you have to fire a guided missile, or a lot of the time, you know, dogfighting is just irrelevant. You know, with modern warfare, a lot of the time you're going to attack them either with a shipborne missile or with ground-based anti-aircraft, or they're not going to bother at all. You know, because it's kind of nuts. What are you going to do with a fighter jet? Anyway, so that's kind of a dead genre and has been for quite some time. DCS is the only thing that exists. And it's clearly intended for a market that I don't think actually really exists here nearly so much as it exists in Russia, where that game was originally made, and a few other places where it seems like it's more popular. So, with that said, and the fact that we had we had Descent Free Space, and then that didn't get followed up, and then we had Star Lancer and Freelancer, and those didn't get followed up because Freelancer was 2001, 2002. IL-2 was again like 99, 2000, something like that. If I'm thinking of I'm sorry, not IL-2. I was thinking of IW-2. I don't know when IL-2 came out, but anyway, so space simulators, they're all dead. The X-Wing series died with X-Wing Alliance. So there's nothing there, and there's not going to be, because flight simulation is really, 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 really hard. Flying planes is hard and boring and detailed, and much like I've said about Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's hard to fly a plane, and it's hard to bolt a story or a narrative or emotional investment into it in a way that the average individual is going, yes, they did. They had to buy out. They had to buy out Freelancer because it was gonna be a disaster. It was gonna get Star Citizened. So you're never going to get the average gamer, let alone less, casual, gamer, into a flight simulator or a simulator of any kind. I mean, simulation is boring. It turns out that flying is hard. It turns out that flying a plane is hard. Flying a spaceship is not that much easier. Why would it be? I think wasn't Ace Combat like super trimmed down and arcadey as well, and I think it was only on consoles. So, all right, the point is that the reason that these things were invented to begin with was to support flight simulators, and particularly combat flight simulators, and then the genre just completely died, except for a few exceptions, things like Elite Dangerous. I can't remember if Eve has real-time controls or not, so I don't know if this is relevant for that. And like not a whole lot else, DCS and very little else. So, SciTech, NAE, Mad Catz, NAE, Logitech, etc., are basically serving a very, very, very small market of people who play Flight Simulator and have like whole cockpits mocked up in their house, and the few people that are playing like ancient space sims, and DCS, and not a whole lot else. So as a result, you would think, if you didn't go look, you might think that the HOTAS, the throttle and stick quadrant, that you could go buy 6 or 7 models of these. No, there's 2. It's exactly 2. You can either buy the Cytec NAE Logitech, I got that backwards, X56, or you can buy the Thrustmaster. That's it. Those are the only options. Nobody else makes anything, and the Thrustmaster one does not have any of this stuff on it, or any of this stuff. It basically has a couple buttons here, this guy, and it might have a slider, and that's it. So, I don't know if you can get the X52. You might be able to, but the X52 is basically the X56 with fewer controls, from what I've seen. The Warthog is the one other option, and I have read over and over and over that it simply is a piece of shit that does not work. It breaks, and it's not very good when it does work. And the other problem is that the Warthog's throttle quadrant has a bunch of switches on it that, as far as I can tell, are latching rather than momentary, and that works well for flight simulators. In fact, it's probably designed specifically for DCS, which supports the option to have like always on rather than toggle type inputs. Unfortunately, very little else does. So, if you want a HOTAS, you're buying one of these. Is pretty much the way it looks. That, or you're buying a maybe an X52 or maybe a Thrustmaster, but there aren't a whole lot of other options. Okay, now, why do I bring this up, and why was I doing this? Well, the way this thing works is interesting. So this is meant to simulate sort of the airliner kind of throttle, right? Where you imagine, and I don't know if this is actually true, that it has a whole bunch of weight behind it. Like, not, it's obviously fly-by-wire, but you imagine that because there's so much drama behind what you're doing, moving this throttle is a big deal. You're about to make a, I don't know how much planes weigh. You're about to make this, 300 passenger, many ton thing with tens of thousands of horsepower get up and start moving. So obviously, you're not just going to yank it. You're going to go, right, in your head. The game's making the noise, and you're making the noise too with your mouth. You know you are. Yeah, you're having a good time. That's fine. Who wouldn't? Well, in order to give it that, well, I mean, there was a lot of metal connected to those levers in 1965, but not anymore. Nowadays, there's a rotary encoder in there, and then it tells the computer what to do. So, in order to make this have even more drama, there is a wheel on the side here, which you can turn, and this stiffens the bastard up. So just crank that, and now when you pull on it, it's really, really heavy, right? Now, I hate this. I don't love it. I mean, I would do it in a 737 if I was doing an airliner in Flight Sim 2020. Then yes, I would crank that soldier boy. I would make it stiff as the dickens, as a wedding prick, I think is the line. But this does not have a specific Togo button, but I could just wire that up for it, or put it on there. But for Elite Dangerous, for instance, I don't want to have all that weight. I want to just slam it, jam it, because you got to change speed pretty rapidly in that, not infrequently. So I looked into this, because the thing is, nowadays when I loosen this, it doesn't seem to loosen all that much. And I also noticed that if I work it some, that it frees up a little bit. Not as much as I wish, but it does free up a little bit. So I looked into it. So basically what's going on inside here is underneath this guy in the base plate, if you take all the screws off, I watched a YouTube video. If you take all the screws off, there's 15 of them, and pop that base plate off. Inside of there is a gear mechanism that knob on the side connects to, which presses on the trunnions that this thing runs in. But that's all completely optional. And what's really going on is goop. It has goop. Basically, on the bottom of this guy here is a paddle. And when you adjust the throttle, the paddle sweeps like this. Okay? Let me move that. The paddle sweeps like this. And in the bottom here is a trunnion that has a mating paddle like this. It's got two mating paddles like this that are coated in goop. No one knows what the goop is, but it is incredibly viscous. It's not just grease. It's something more. If you just put grease on there, it would get pushed out of place. This stuff essentially lets the paddle slide by it, but just sort of rolls instead of getting smeared. Because otherwise it would eventually, it would wear down, right? It would all get pushed off. This stuff, however, the goop is permanent. The problem is that after a while it starts to go bad. And it has now significantly increased its friction. But if you work it a bit, it gets that goop flowing. So it's sort of a kind of a thixotropic kind of non-Newtonian fluid going on there, I guess. So there are people who have bought these things, opened them up, and scraped out all the goop, which sounds kind of terrifying, but I would like to try it, but not with this one. It doesn't belong to me. It's Daria's. So I kind of want to buy another one just to try scraping all the goop out of it. Because the thing is, people have said if you scrape the goop out, you can still use the tension to change the resistance, and it works just fine. They say the goop is not actually necessary. So, all right, I have to run to the bathroom. I'll be back. Wow. Lynx, that's extremely funny. Oh, man. Okay, Niogel 767. Yeah, I found it on Amazon. And main uses include joysticks, microscopes, telescopes, binoculars, tripods, and HOTUS. So yeah, I guess that's that. Let's take a look at the ratings. It's going to all be people talking about Thrustmasters. Yep. I won't sit... Let's go ahead and enjoy this Amazon review. This is the first review for this stuff. I won't sit here and argue with the many people using this for the Thrustmaster Warthog and stuff, and I won't give it a bad rating for being something that doesn't work for me. But I do not recommend this for the TWCS throttle. This stuff is like tree sap. Yeah, he says with the tensioner not even like completely loose and the throttle would barely move without sliding all over the table. It's the same problem I have. It does fix the stiction that you get with their stock lubricant. So, in case you're not aware, stiction is where you push on something, it's not moving, it's not moving, it's not moving, and then it breaks loose, and all of a sudden it moves quite a bit easier, right? Anyway, but yeah, this guy says he didn't love it, so he switched to Super Lube PTFE silicon. But that might be too far the opposite direction, maybe too thin, but way better than this stuff, quote unquote. And then there's another person here saying this butter smooth Thrustmaster 16,000 M throttle action. Specifically calls out Elite Dangerous. If you found the throttle stiction after a couple weeks to be really bad, this is your grease. This is your grease. Trying to describe just how well this stuff works is problematic, as it does not facilitate easy gliding down the throttle rail. Using this makes the throttle feel like it is being pushed through a stick of butter. That doesn't mean you can't hammer it up to full throttle, even with just one finger in an instant, but it will resist instead of flying down the rail. This really helps with ships that are insanely fast and Elite Dangerous. You can just ease it a little and get 5 kilometers per second or less speed adjustments. Wow. Wow. Man. Boy, I really love how Amazon and some other sites, but particularly Amazon, is full of things like industrial supply stuff, where you take a look at it, and if you look up this Niogel 767, here I'll drop a link in chat. If you look this stuff up, it's like, this is not a consumer product. This is something that's supposed to be owned by purchased by manufacturers. It's being sold by Nye Lubricants. Do you think that they really think of themselves as a retail company it sells to the public? Hell no. Although, I said that, but then conversely, oh boy, Niogel 760G, lubricant grease for flashlights. Protects electrical contacts from rust and corrosion. Yeah, so I guess they are used to selling to the public at this point, I suppose. But anyway, it's really funny how you get on here and you find all sorts of stuff that is really not intended for the general public, and so it'll have no reviews. A lot of it won't be stocked by Amazon directly, etc. And then when you make it around, you're looking, and then all of a sudden you see it's like Niogel 760, no reviews, 762, no reviews, 767, 300 reviews. And it's because that's the one thing that some guy on a forum discovered, and he told all the other forumites about it. So Niogel 767 gets mentioned on Reddit, and now all these people are going to pour into Amazon and start buying this stuff, and the company goes, "What the hell's going on?" And then they have to go figure out why the hell somebody is all these random members of the public are buying their product that's never supposed to have been sold to the general public. Anyway, so yeah, let's play a game we haven't played before. So it looks like the last time I was in the D's, I got as far as Deflector. Wow. There's like a couple dozen games in between Death Chase and Deflector that I No, I guess I did play these. Huh. There's one here called Death Star Interceptor, and it just, like, sounds intriguing. But if I didn't put it in the interesting folder, so is it bad? I don't know. This looks kind of good. Whoa. Okay. How do I go? Yeah, there's definitely speech going on there. Wow, this sucks. I think this is it. I think this is the only thing we're trying to do, is to just try and land this thing on the dot. What do they want from me? What the hell? What am I doing? Prepare to launch. Wow, the point where you've actually played it enough times you can make out what the hell they're saying. That's when you've been playing too long. Man, I guess this is why I didn't put it in the interesting games folder. Let me go to the mission briefing. All right, the Death Star approaches. Oh, Earth will be in range. Oh, okay. All right. Earth. Huh. Yeah, that one's, yeah, anyway. Launch Interceptor 1 through the Stargate. Random tractor beam scanning, okay. No, that's it. You just have to make it through the damn, huh. I'm doing it right. Now nothing works. Okay, there we go. So do you just have to absolutely nail that center pixel? I guess? God. So, what? Who could have done better than I've done? This is wild. Is this pixel perfect? I don't know. I have no control over this. Man, I don't know. Yeah, the ground colors do seem to match up with the colors in the lower right. So maybe I'm supposed to launch, what, after the purple? Okay, so if I launch on the teal, then I should hit the green. It's not going to work, but I'm still going to try it. Wow. Man. This is, wow. I just switched ROMs just in case this is a bad, hey bitmap. Just in case this is a bad, rip or something. No, I don't know what anyone could possibly do that I haven't done. Yeah, that's true. Alright, well that would explain why I had not put that game in the interesting folder. Let me tell you that much. What else do we have here? This is Deja Vu. Oh, thanks, Bitmap. Kind of a bop. Mild bop. Alright, let's see. I grabbed myself a beer. This is a Crowler. I don't know if I've talked about this. I'm going to talk about this. Why not? So, for the beer drinkers out there, so you might be familiar with a growler, where you take a big jug to the bar. I guess some bars do it. And they fill it up from the tap, and you can get some actual draft beer rather than canned beer at home. They last maybe 36 hours, roughly. And you make the sound. What sound? What sound am I making? Anyway, so yeah, these have been around for eons. You rinse it out, take it to the place, they fill it up. If it's the right kind of place, it's actually pretty affordable. But if you don't want quite that much, you can get a smaller one. But I didn't know about this new thing called a Crowler. I had no idea. I only found out about this a couple weeks ago when I walked into a place that did them. So I went in and I got I went to Chuck's Hop Shop in Seward Park around here, and I got one of their on-tap beers, in this case the Sea Pine Boysenberry Gose, and they took an empty can with no lid down off the shelf, they filled it up, and then they crimped a lid on it. And I didn't know they could do that. I had no idea. And it makes sense, right? Because why not? Why couldn't you make a single canning press? All you're doing is rolling the edge over. What difference does it make? There's no reason you couldn't. But still, what? Get out. This is a 32-ounce beer, so it's like a really tall Foster's rip. That shit sucks. I guess you could probably pop it. I could probably just drink it. There's no rule that says a dog can't drink beer directly out of the Crowler. So let's see how this works. I haven't tried it. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Oh, that's weird. I tasted a little bit of this at the place, but it's a little bit like drinking some perfume. A little bit. It's got kind of. I'm gonna go dump my. Give me a second. I'm gonna go dump my my warm IPA out and fill this up. I'll be right back. If you had any doubts about that being a berry-flavored drink, I trust they're gone. Probably not berry flavored. They probably actually put boysenberries on it. Anyway, So the seal is an interesting question. I don't think it's relevant, actually, though. Because the thing with beer is, with growlers in general, by the way, that's called a crowler, or can growler, if I didn't mention that. The thing about beer is it can't get air in it, right? So when you dispense beer out of a tap, it's being pushed out of the keg either by its own intrinsic carbonation, but I think more often by a CO2 pressurization system. So up until the point that the beer exits the tap, it's never really been exposed to any air. When you dispense beer into a growler, it does get exposed to air, but if they do a good job of it, if they fill it all the way to the absolute brim and then put the cap on, there's so little air in there that it can't really oxidize, right? So that's good. And then the brown bottle prevents any sun getting in there and helping to speed the oxidation. But once you start drinking it, like pretty much the moment you pop it, once you start drinking it, it gets more and more air in there, and then it starts to oxidize. So the shelf life of growlers in general is never going to be... People quote it at about 36 hours tops. Although, if it's sealed, if you haven't opened it since you got it, it could sometimes make it a week. And sometimes with a good insulated one, 2 weeks. But I don't know if you'd want to bet on that. The crowlers have the same problem that... because they're being dispensed from a tap, they're hitting air on the way out, so that's already setting off the reactions. So, from what I've read, crowlers do not have a great shelf life. It's not a whole lot better than a conventional growler, which are already like okay. But yeah, like 3 days, a week at the absolute outside, or it's going to be garbage by the time you open it up. A lot of the time it'll have lost its carbonation, apparently, although I'm not sure quite how that works. The idea is just that, one, it's not glass. Two, it's more, and therefore it's more convenient to carry. It's a smaller quantity, etc. Yes, any sort of CO2 injection system would probably help considerably. But basically, draft beer doesn't keep anyway. Pretty much the only circumstance under which it keeps is when it's in the keg. From the brewery, and I don't even know how long they keep in there, to be honest. The numbers aren't that good there either, now that I think about it, because I used to get kegs periodically, and yeah, you're not really supposed to keep them around for more than a few days, unless you have a CO2 delivery system. So anyway, yeah, yeah, craft brewing has absolutely exploded over here as well. Craft brewing in Washington is just a massive business. So there's a lot of canning operations going on around here. But just the idea of like an individual can is just kind of nuts to think about. And yeah, Space Bat, that's a very good point. When you go to pour one of these things, like conventionally, sort of historically, I think, you would have held it like this and poured it like that. But that's a big pain in the ass. Especially because you're going to want to tilt your glass, right, to get a proper pour, which means you're going to have to do one of these. Get it up here if you're going to do that, and then go like that. But you run out of... It's really tough to make that work. So what I end up doing, and probably a lot of people, is you just stress the hell out of your hand. Put your thumb there, brace your fingers there, and just tilt the whole thing, right? And obviously it's bad for you, it's uncomfortable, etc. Now, they have... Yeah, they're ergonomically just terrible. But on the other hand, how big a handle can you put on a glass bottle and still have it actually fit on a shelf, right? If you look at this doesn't actually protrude past the straight walls of the thing, so it doesn't take up any extra space. And I wouldn't necessarily want to change that either. With that said, what I've been looking at doing since I've been patronizing this place locally, it does growlers, and I think I'm going to keep doing it, is I think I'm going to invest in a couple of insulated ones. You can buy insulated growlers from like Stanley and a couple other companies that have great big hoop handles on them, and I think that'll solve my problem. Yeah, Joe, you're right. That is the right way to do it. All right. So, let's we're playing Deja Vu the remix. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at what we have here. Kempston. All right. What do we have? Oh, did we play this before? Whoa. Maybe not. All right. So, okay. So we're down to about 2/3 health. It looks like there's an actual ammo mechanism in this, so we can't just fire continuously. Don't know what that's about. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on down the lower right. We've got we got some faces. We got, I don't know what those are up top. There's some discs. There's some batteries. All sorts of things. Ow. Of course, it being a British game, it's impossible not to get hurt. It's always a thing with these games. Like, no matter how they're designed, it's never possible to avoid getting injured. It's just like, hate it. All right, so we've picked up. We had 3S. Now we have 4S. I don't know if that's a shield or something. We have one of those helmet-looking things. Oh my god, yeah, it's pretty much impossible to avoid getting injured. So this is obviously not workable. But this is a much calmer experience. So what's this about? Oh, wait, I can't pick that up. Did I die? Yeah, I died. Wait, but I restarted with the same amount of energy. Huh. Okay, whatever the disc does, there's one right there. Okay, we have a disc. See, that looks like a pickup, but I guess I already have two. So whatever it is, I can't pick it up. Oh, yeah, I have all the batteries I can have. You're right. You're right. Okay. Huh. Why are there things that look like platforms? Oh, that's right. There was a setting that said gravity or no, but I left it turned on. So... Huh. So I don't know why there's no gravity. Because, yeah, this definitely looks like there's supposed to be gravity in that room. Why are these bastards back? Is it because I died? Probably. Oh, whoa. What? Did I take a death because of that? Okay, alright, well, whatever. The VVVVVV energy here is intense. I'm getting hints of ambition, everyone. 3. Well, that says 3. Okay. Oh, my firepower refilled. What did that? Wow, this is inscrutable. Oh man, does A&W still do the gallon fills? Yeah, that's interesting. That is definitely a 3.5-inch disc. And this came out in 1990. So that makes sense. Now, this is apparently Deja Vu the remix from 1990. Whereas the original Deja Vu apparently came out a year earlier in 89. So we'll have to keep that in mind. This is really, this is intriguing. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay, I did lose one of those. Okay, all right. Yeah, so I guess those are ammo magazines, essentially. So, I've done everything I can do without further information. I'm going to load up the original Deja Vu here. Theoretically, if my machine will cooperate. What the hell is going on here? Oh, cool. Oh, what just happened? Explorer has frozen. Please tell me I've hit a bad sector on my hard drive again. I totally have. Alright, bear with me. I gotta wait for this to time out. Oh, did I die? Oh, whoops, I hit the... Oh, I hit the dang joystick. Yeah, I'm sitting here waiting for Explore to unfreeze. When it unfreezes, I'm almost certainly going to get an error in the event log that says disk. Because I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a little secret. It's a little bit of a secret here, but my SSD that I keep a bunch of stuff, including my video editing clips on, and where I write my rendered videos out to and stuff like that. Oh, we got options here, so this will shut up. It went bad. It started throwing CRC errors a month or two ago, and I brought it up, and one of my patrons, who I mentioned in the last video, immediately hooked me up with 2 new drives, and I still haven't installed them. I just struggled along on the one I had and started writing some data out to my C drive because I didn't want to get in and replace the thing and have to go. And I still have to go through the whole RMA process and whatnot. So I need to do some stuff before I can do that. So I actually haven't put it in there. I just struggled along with the one I had. But I did end up taking those drives and putting them in. Here we go. Here they are. I put those into my new server that I'm setting up. I'm tempted to just pause the ZX Spectrum games and do some server setup streaming. But anyway, there we go. Yeah, the SSD I have is under warranty, but it's kind of an irritating process getting it taken care of with Samsung. But anyway, yeah, so I was having these slowdowns, and then I would get disk errors, and the same exact sort of thing just happened, but for some reason, I guess that's not, I guess that wasn't what was going on, because I don't have any disk errors, and now it's running again, so weird. Deja Vu is related to Flashback. I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. Also, apparently I didn't have gravity on the last time. That was actually, the non-gravity mode. I misread the menu. So let's go ahead and play with Kempston, right? Oh, okay. This is an entirely different kind of game. Oh, okay. So that's gonna be basically a level pack for all intents and purposes. Okay. Very interesting to have 2 completely different games. Oh, wait. Oh, you can jump infinitely, though. So, yes, there's gravity, but it doesn't, you don't really, there's gravity, but it's not, tyrannical. You just have to be careful with, it's like you have an infinite jetpack, essentially. Kind of a big fan of this. Look at this dude. We're just kind of a dude. We're a little guy that's going around. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, okay, all right. This is hard. Yeah, with the gravity on, this is really, really hard. Oh, these guys have iframes. Wow. So, I'm going to say that on the Metroidvania scale, this thing is scoring relatively high points, all things considered. The Metroidvania scale being, to me, one of the most important metrics of whether a game is truly good. Yes, this is an Amogus. You're right. It feels like at any moment we're going to hit a switch and it's going to just open up the entire game. You know what I mean? Like a whole bunch of doors or machines are going to activate or something. I feel like I should be able to do something with these. I really do. I am pressing buttons. Oh. Oh, okay, I was right. Yeah, so I just turned on a shield. See, that thing is flickering now? Oh. And I didn't actually do anything with it before I got hit, I think. Man, I kind of feel like maybe this is a VVVVVV. Like, do we think we might be on a spaceship? I think we might be on a spaceship. No. Of course, it's typical British computer combat. Incredibly difficult. Really gets in your way. You know what? I definitely want to read the manual for this one. Deja Vu Zx Spectrum. Because this game looks ambitious. Wow. So this was originally published by Crash, which was a magazine, and this was on a cover tape. This came on issue 71. Man, it's wild for something this impressive to just be something that came with your magazine, you know? All right, can we find a manual? We have a load screen, a run screen, a game map. Yeah, let's see the game map. How big is it? Oh, wow, it's a map that came with the game. All objects are never in the same place each time you play. The map gives you a guide to the transporters. They're marked 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you press fire on transporter 1, you'll move to the other transporter marked 1. The barriers, however, are in the same place each time. You have to collect keys, which have a different color. Keys 1 and 2 get your mates out by opening secret passages, while key 3 leads into a secret room near the beginning, which may or may not be useful. Key 4 is essential to complete the game. You need 4 fuel pods if you want to make it out of the place alive. So those 4 things above the heads, I think those are the fuel pods. Below that are your buds. There are littered around the place in random positions each time are battery packs, love hearts, parentheses, extra fire, and smart bombs. Somewhere there is a bomb for you to blow everything up with once you have... there's a bomb for you to blow everything up with once you've left. Okay, there's the instructions. Outstanding. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to go ahead for your edification and drop the links into the chat. Yeah, this is VVVVVVV as hell. Oh, well, you know what? I wanted to send you a link to the file, but it's too long for YouTube chat. So for anybody who is curious, bonk. I almost wonder if this is the exact inspiration for VVVV, but you know, I swear I've said that about 2 or 3 different games on the ZX Spectrum. I'm still going to look it up. No hits, really. Okay. All right, well, anyway. VVVVV, the puzzle platform game from, like, 2008. Wow, when did that come out? I feel like it had to have been, like, 2010. There we go. Made by Terry Kavanagh. What else did he make? I don't remember anymore. I'm gonna get a content strike. Because I'm going to play the soundtrack, because the soundtrack absolutely slaps. Let's see. Here we go. It says I pressed the fire button to teleport, but it's not working. But yeah, VVVVV was a huge hit back in 2010, and it's basically a love song to this kind of game. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of personality going on in this game. Wow. Yeah. You can't get any more British than those high scores, but in a good way. We're gonna try and play this a little bit more because I'm intrigued. Okay, let's try our shield. Okay, yeah, it works. Oh, this is going in the interesting folder. Oh, lordy. You don't know the half of it. Space Bat, what Unicode shenanigans are these Amoguses? Wait, are those literally just Thai characters? They're not... Oh, man. Ah, crap. You know, there's no point fighting these things because they respawn. So, how does this work? I'm just brute forcing it. Ah. Huh. Ah, I can't make him stop. Why? Oh, because there's a magnet there. Oh, crap. Oh, this is a murder house right here. Wow. Okay. New order sub since 1987. Oh, man. Oh, this is hard mode, and holy crap is it hard. You basically can't kill anything. I am trying to teleport. It is not working. Oh my god, in hard mode it changes the numbers out with dice just so it's harder to read. Alright, well, we'll move on from this game. Sorry, I'm having some computer problems. Please hold. Things are, for some reason, moving very slowly. Alright, I'm going to pause that, and what we're going to do here... Let's shift gears here for a moment. One moment. Let me just duplicate that. Bing, bang, bing, bang, bong, kong by what's the name of that? What's the name of that band? Messer Chops. There we go. Messer for Frau Mueller. All right, there we go. Okay, this is V's. Let me make this bigger on my screen. Integer. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Okay. And now I have not played this since 2012. So will this start me at the beginning? Oh, whoops. That was scary. The bros aren't here. So this is VVVVV, sometimes known as V's, I believe. And this is the only verb you have in this game. Flip gravity. You can go left, right, and you can flip gravity. That's the only controls you have. This is basically... The game starts up with a mockery of a C64 startup sequence to give you an idea, but it's very much patterned after that kind of British room-based game where every single room has its own name, like Manic Miner, and every room has its own sort of gimmick. The difference is that those are checkpoints, so you don't die immediately and, just have to restart the game. There's no lives or anything. Oh, right. I have found a shiny trinket, which I think is not essential. But basically, yeah, everything is very, very fast. You die quickly, you move quickly. But it's like a remarkably simple game. It only has one verb. But, you know, in the same way as The Witness, he just keeps coming up with new ways to make that verb do new things. Oops. And, you know, dying doesn't cost anything. There's no shame in it. That's the new way we make games, you know. So you can just fail as many times as you want. It's not a problem. So it's just like not really infuriating. There's no real reason to get mad at it. And this one's fun because there's no way you have to come over here or to go back to the left. There's no other way to do it. Maybe speedrunners have a technique, but generally speaking, there's no way to do it. But it looks like you should be able to. So there's a lot of like weird, there's a lot of weird sort of perspective dickery. Yeah, I think that's the collect-a-thon part you don't actually have to do. But yeah, so you gotta do stuff like this, where it sort of functionally flips the level upside down, which is ironic given this is a game about, you know, changing gravity. Well, not ironic, but you know what I mean. And then, yeah, there's just sort of these moments where inexplicable things happen, but of course the whole game is inexplicable, right? I always loved this one because I think, yeah, you can't change direction in midair is the, you know, major constraint. And so all you want to do is go to the right. That's it. And if you could just flip twice, then you could go to the right. But instead, this sends you way off into this whole other galaxy of stuff you have to do. And it's all very precise, right? So you have to go down here, dodge to the left, then back to the right, and then on the way back up. Oh, I don't even remember how to do that. Wait, how do you do that? Oh, right, that's what it is. Then you have to go back all the way to the top, and you don't even actually get to that later section there until several screens later. I think you get to it not even down here. Yeah, you got to go around for a while before you can get back to it. Oops. And of course, it just like wouldn't be all that. It would not be as good as it is if the music didn't absolutely bump. And so, oh, whoops. Oh, that's right. It pauses when you tab out of it. I had to go look at YouTube Studio. Yeah, so you teleport, and I think the music changes. Hey, I found Violet. Sorry, I'm going fast on the dialogue. You should buy this game. If you want to enjoy this game, you should buy this game. I don't think it costs more than a couple of bucks at this point, and it's really seminal. It's a really essential piece of video game history. Probably, I would say, top 10 best games ever made. Easy. VVV is a perfect game. No notes. Absolutely nothing needs to be improved about it. Got some question marks. Yeah, $5 on Steam. If you are not starving, there is no reason not to own VVV. The letter V 6 times. Just can't recommend it enough. Oh, and then, yeah, like, so the whole world actually takes place at this massive map that I think is all actually connected together. So you just sort of pick a direction and go. And then there's things to do. I think it does have cycling rainbow items. They're just not on this screen. Yeah. Here, let's teleport. Oh, man, bubble tea. Don't talk about bubble tea. I have some bubble tea. I got the canned stuff. Okay. So oh, I see. So these only teleport to known locations. I didn't know that. Alright, let's go down here. Yeah, I haven't played this game in literally 10 years, which is wild to think. Oh. Yeah. Here we go. Best track in the game. Oh, man. Oh. Like, there's not a ton of stress in this game, but you noticed I wasn't saying anything? Because, like, it's not stressful. You can't lose. You can't die. But you just, you know, it's tense sometimes. You're trying to do a thing, and, like, there's no checkpoints. And, Yeah. 6 Vs in a row. That's what we're playing. God, this game is so good. Easily one of the games of all time. Joe, I thought you were shitposting. Is that actually where bubble tea came from? Hilarious. God, this game is so good. Oops. I love that games like this invented the concept of fast failure. Man. We're going down, and we're down now. Yes, Adenode. I'm positive it could be. I'm going to pause for a second. I would be shocked that this has not been backported. C64, V. Yeah, I'll bet you anything. Incredible news as modern indie game gets a C64 conversion from IndieRetroNews.com. We're about to blow you away with possibly the best C64 release news of the week as Laxsteve releases full C64 conversion of the modern indie game VVV, which was originally released back in 2010 and created by Terry Cavanaugh on multiple platforms, including the PC's puzzle platform game. Its conversion, one of the hardest games you'll ever play, it's one of the best out of counts high scores. Let me click download. Oh my god, you bastards are going to make me play a Commodore 64 game. This sucks. Oh, damn it. Wait. Oh, crap. I'm in Edge. That's why this isn't working. Yeah, the cool thing, there's a number of games like this that, yeah, like they're really, really simplistic, and they genuinely really are, and you really could actually, they could have been made when they were new, and that's a thing I think about a lot. The idea that the ZX Spectrum and the C64 could have had better games. They had the capacity, but no one knew how to make them yet. No one knew that they could exist. And so those games couldn't be created because it would require knowledge of futures that, you know, didn't yet exist. And by the time anybody thought to make better games, those platforms were dead. Shapes might have been it, maybe. Let me check. Yeah, it was like the only 2000s era game that I was willing to have anything to do with. But it was like it deserved it. It slapped. It was really well made. Wow. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's see. How do I do this? Load up the interactive demo. Okay, here's the source. We're going to do a little bit of, we're going to Commodore some 64 at this time. Hell, let's go ahead and, hang on a second. Let's get some demos and shit going. It's not that I have a problem with aughts games. The thing is that Game about squares. That sounds right. Was that it? If it is, why don't I have it in this folder? Why wouldn't I have it in the interesting folder? Did I forget to move it over there? That would be... Oh, I did. That's such a bummer that I almost forgot to put it in there. All right, so Sergeant Pepper. So when I go through these ROM folders for old home computers, the question I'm asking is not what is the machine capable of, it's what did it accomplish in its day that is forgotten in the shadow of games that sold a lot better through sheer chance. Because I have a folder full of 157 games that I think are better than Manic Miner, that I think are better than the games that are, that are the ones that people mention as soon as a platform, enters conversation. People go, oh, Dizzy. Well, I think Dizzy sucks. I don't think Dizzy is a fun game. Somebody might disagree with me. Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. But I think the Dizzy games suck shit, and none of them should have been made. Sorry to the guys who made them, who are still making them. I think they made a new Dizzy game some years ago. But I think that Dizzy sucks. I think that Manic Miner sucks, and I think that Jet Set Willy sucks. I don't think they're fun, and they're also not terribly creative. They really have one very small idea and then a million rooms. And the Oliver twins can what's the phrase? Suck my fatty, I think is that what the kids used to say? Anyway, I think their games are terrible. Maybe they're good for someone, but I think they're a waste of time. There were better games for the ZX Spectrum and the other platforms that I investigate as well. And so what I want to do is to find all the games that came out that were better than the ones that we know from these platforms, the ones that always come up in conversation. And in order to do so, I just have to play through every single one. Well, the thing is, I found out very early in my ZX Spectrum travails that the platform was capable of much better stuff. And I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but my suspicion is that one of the big problems with the ZX Spectrum as far as like platform games go is that throughout its history, it seems like all the platform and action games that got created for it have serious problems. God, I want Arby's. I haven't had Arby's in so long. They all have serious problems with collision detection, with input reading, with things like letting you change direction in midair. Things that we figured out on platforms like the NES. We figured out how to do these things better. But B, I suspect that there were limitations of the ZX Spectrum and other home computer platforms that made it very difficult to do these things correctly. Well, in the fullness of time, people having spent over 20 years figuring out how to make these machines perform their best, with the assistance of hundreds or thousands of people online on forums, on Reddit and Discord and IRC working together, sharing code. I can load up a number of games for the ZX Spectrum that were made in the 2000s that play like NES titles. And it feels like playing a Pico 8 game. They often have graphics that look nothing like the ones that were used back in the day. They often have input techniques that work as well as an NES game, where you can change direction midair, you can have multiple inputs simultaneously, and so on and so forth. But the trouble is that they're new. They're modern. Well, if I wanted to play a good modern game, I would just play it on its native platform. You could have made that game for DOS, and it would have been better than making it for the ZX Spectrum. It's interesting, for sure, to show the platform was capable of better things, but capable is an interesting idea when you take into account that people didn't have the ability to talk to each other the way that we do now. Most of the, even in the mid-'80s, hardly any indie developer for video games had access even to Usenet, I would think, let alone the nascent internet. And had we given that to the British developers, I'm sure they would have been much better at what they were doing. I make a lot of noise when I do these videos about how bad British video games were. I hope nobody's ever thought that I think that British people are not smart or something like that. That's not it at all. It's specifically that because of the economic condition, this is what I've been told, by the way, by other people. Because of the economic conditions of 1980s Britain in particular, among a few other factors, there just weren't a whole lot of people in the UK who had seen any Nintendo games, which rapidly became the gold standard for video game design, and who had really even played a lot of arcade games, although arcade games didn't keep up with what was going on in the console world, and didn't really have any opportunities to talk to other developers. So you had all these silos of individual basement developers who were writing a game from scratch in BASIC or assembly language with absolutely no connection to anyone else. All they had to go on was maybe they went to the store and bought, maybe if they had a store, maybe they bought a game once in a while, just like anybody else. They weren't rich. They weren't going to buy up every game on the market to see what was out there. And there weren't necessarily magazines to show them what was going on elsewhere. And if there were, it was abstract, right? If you were a British game developer in 1986 and you saw like a copy of Nintendo Power that showed you what was going on in the Famicom, what the hell would you make of it? There's no way to tell from the images how solid that game, those games played. If you saw, Super Mario Brothers or Metroid, what would you think of it in a magazine? In stills, they look very much like a lot of the games that came out on the ZX Spectrum. In fact, in some cases, less advanced due to the tile-based graphics and the very small amount of RAM that the machine had. In terms of game mechanics, they were far more sophisticated. So, when I talk about how British game developers made shit garbage that sucked, I'm only talking about the reality of it. I'm not making any kind of judgment on the people themselves. I think the developers did their level best. It's just that people in the United States and Japan had better stuff. They had access to better stuff. We had better magazines, but we also had access to consoles. We were just richer. We had more money. We were privileged. And that meant that we got better games. And the thing that sucks is I firmly believe that had, in some way, information about what was going on in the console world trickled down into the UK game development world, all the stuff coming out of the C64 and ZX Spectrum might have been of better quality. But another possibility that may have made it impossible for games to be quote-unquote better at that time is two possibilities. A, we now have development environments they could not have imagined. Because remember, the people making games for the ZX Spectrum in 2000, 2001, or 2014, God forbid, are using literally software that was developed 30 to 40 years later outside of the actual environment of the machine itself. They're not typing BASIC into the interpreter in the computer itself and having to do printouts and trace around in them with a pencil. They're using like somebody's GitHub project that lets them cross-compile ZX Spectrum games, right? They are cheating in no uncertain terms. So it's just not comparable. And then on top of that, there's also the fact that in 30 plus years, people have figured out, if you're on the ZX Spectrum and you want to read the Kempston joystick, you don't have to like pull it in this particular fashion by reading this memory area. You can actually do this weird bit mask and stuff. You do like 4 instructions and just like that, you get the status of the joystick. And nobody had figured that out in 1984, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, or 90 because nobody was talking to anybody else, right? Every single software developer was siloed. Nobody was sharing anything. So they're at such a disadvantage in like a historical sense that there's just no way, I think, that the the British software developers were at a tremendous disadvantage. That's my opinion. I think that it sucks to imagine having the ambitions. In fact, I would say that what I regularly find remarkable is, despite the limitations that they were up against and the lack of, not having seen what was going on the NES, the SNES, etc., and to not have access to the incredible power of platforms that could really make modern type games happen, the ambition that you can see shining through in some of these games anyway, that is what fascinates me. I don't care that somebody in 2014 can make a game for the ZX Spectrum that plays like, Super Mario Brothers. Like, I don't give a shit. So, I knew that. I could have guessed. What I want to know is, what did people figure out in 1986 or 1984 that none of us know about? I want to honor those developers who saw beyond the limitations of the platform and tried or succeeded in making things that, and this is critical, and this is what I did not realize for the longest time before I embarked on this project, which I did because I felt that I was being an unfair dumbass, is how many games were created on the ZX Spectrum or the PC-88 or whatever that we would not succeed in replicating for 20 years. There are hints of gameplay styles that didn't exist for 20 years after someone accidentally discovered them on these platforms. That is food for thought, because that tells us that we probably have not figured out all the types of games that can be made. If people were able to go decades having created and then forgotten types of games that we now take as granted only because they rematerialized, on itch.io or Steam in 2012, then what have we not found yet? What have we not figured out? And there's been some pretty cool shit. In recent years, I have started coming up with a lot of interesting abbreviations for words, like I have started calling terabytes, TB. I've started calling them TIBs, like 8 TIB hard drive. I'll say that a lot. And I've started actually sort of backporting that. So like sometimes I have actually said MIBs, like we're sending 10 MIBs per second. And NES and SNES I think are just fun. You know what? I did my time in the trenches. I spent 30 years saying NES, and I'm done with it. Now I'm going to say NES because I want to. All right, let's play some. Let's play some games on the 64th Commodore. The 64th. I do call them EXEs when I feel like it. I actually don't. I say EX. I call them binaries. Honest to God, I do. I just say binary. Okay, what program am I using here? Is it this one? By the way, I'm going to be using the Vice emulator, which is a piece of shit. Just a piece of shit, let me tell you. They all the C64 emulators are just terrible. Wow, that looks like crap. Let's go ahead and crop that. Wow, what's all that weird negative space on top? That's weird. Wow, why does this look so bad? Come on, scale filtering. I guess that looks a little bit better. All right, let's just load this game up. Let's get to it. Let's go. Wow. Are we just gonna start talking about all about the Pentiums now? Because that song slapped. So this is that VVVVV, which I guess has a cracktro, which I'm digging. I need a beer before we get started. BRB. Oh yeah, I mean, in addition to to All About the Penguins being like genuinely a very good rap song, while all the disses in it weren't very, like, no one would ever have said any of those things. You know, they were corny. They were nonetheless really well informed. Like, all the jokes in it were very on point, even if they were corny. Well, I mean, I just get gigs. All right, let me set up my. Let me see if I can set up my joystick first here. Input devices, joystick number 1, X input, key set A. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's probably fine as is. Okay. All right. Flowed. Vulnerability, yes, no. I can't wait for the music. I'm really excited. No invulnerability. Joe, it's a patron-only Discord. I can't remember. I think I set the minimum at $5. I just, frankly, I needed to control how many people were joining because there were just too many. It was like 250, 400, something like that. I am pressing action, but it is not working. Did I set it at 3? Alright, well, let's go ahead and start the game, and I'll try the joystick. That's weird. It looks like the joystick input is working per the status bar. Lording. Lording! Coach Z voice. I get it, Adenode. Weird, why isn't the joystick working? Huh. Alright, hang on a second. What the hell? Wait, so they changed the music? Oh, you know what? That might be because there was a copyright issue vis-a-vis... because the music was not composed by Terry Kavanaugh. Someone else did it. Oh, did it say port 2? Okay, yeah, I can fix that. There we go. Yep, there we go. That's the game we were just playing. I wonder if there's an illicit ROM hack of this that replaces the music with the OG stuff. Wait, this is harder than it was originally. I swear. Well, Yeah, I used to just spell it all out. I'd say ZSNES. But, yeah, I'd definitely say ZSNES now. SNES 9X. Oops. A couple collision errors there. What else is new, though? This doesn't play exactly as tight as the original game on Windows, but it's pretty tight. So yeah, VVVVVV absolutely could have been released for the Commodore 64. I think is indisputable, and you know, how remarkable is that? Imagine if we'd had, you know, people had had this in what, 84 4. The collision detection is not what it could be, let me tell you. Yeah, the save point did get moved, didn't it? They made a few odd changes. I don't quite get it. And this is harder than it used to be. Like, this was not this hard before. The collision detection is just so janky. And the thing is, what's going on is that it's buffering inputs is the problem. So, like, it's really hard to hit the input. Oh. Speedrun strat. Speedrun strat. Speedrun strat. Oh, no. Telling my kids this is what the C64 was. Yeah, so yeah, this is kind of broken and doesn't really work, which is kind of a bummer. I wish that were not the case. All right, well, I'm going to go back to the ZX Spectrum here, but first, can I load this? Will this load? Loading. Loading, ready, Ron. I don't think that's literally the Punisher. Maybe. I don't know. But it's just a demo intro. I died. I certainly used to call the NES the Nintendo. Well, I guess that's that. So yeah, that's a crappy Doom clone. There's one for every platform. All right. So, putting that aside, let's get back to what matters. This game here, this is ambitious. It's definitely going in the interesting folder. I'm going to take both versions of the game, put them both in there. And then, what is next? Ah, okay, cool. The folder is frozen again. So it'll be a couple minutes here before I can actually load up the next game. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody ever said NES unironically. NES is a thing people started saying once the internet came along in the modern era, and people started having a reason to basically refer to these consoles in bulk many times in the same sentence. Nobody ever said NES, and hell, I think most people never said NES. Still waiting for this to unfreeze. Still waiting. Wow. I'm not getting any disk errors, so I don't know why this is... Oh, what the hell? Oh! Okay, I just found out why these freezes were happening. And it's because in the process of dragging a file out of the ROMs window, I accidentally drug it over a network share that wasn't connected. Wow. It's one of Windows' remaining problems. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I don't think there was any risk of Nintendo becoming a genericized trademark outside of an actual Nintendo product. But I can't explain why that is. I would sure love to skip this and get to the game. Now, start the tape recorder. Whoa! Well, that was abrasive, and then... Wait, 1982 Amstrad? What? What? Oh, right. Because did Amstrad acquire... Well, whatever. So that failed to load. Oh my god, I just did it again. I just dragged the damn thing over the network share. It would actually, man, it would save me a lot of effort if I just turned the server back on. Oh, did it work? Oh, it did work. Okay, cool. It didn't hang for nearly as long that time. Ah, no. Another terrible shmup. Whoa. Wait, it's not a terrible shmup. It's actually, like, a surprisingly competent one. Although there's definitely some graphical corruption happening. And that audio really sucks. Wow. But yeah, there's actually some physics going on. Like, when I run into walls, I bump off of them. Wow, this is not good. But, yep, yeah, okay. Yes, that sure is. Yep. That, uh-huh. Alright, that was Delphox. This is an adventure game. Alright, Delta Charge. Definitely not loading correctly. It says it's for a 48K to a 128K. Well, let's try a 48K and see what happens. Still corrupted. Let's try the alternate dump. That's looking better. Okay, let's switch this back to the right. That's the right kind, but let's switch this back to a better machine. +2. Let's go. Fasten your seatbelt. Is this a... Not great. Gradius? This might be a Gradius. It's very hard to kill things. I'm going to have a very hard time powering up. Ah! What the hell? Look how hard this is. This sucks. This is not a good game. They definitely looked at like Gradius and said, oh, let's clone that. But you know what they didn't do? A good job. So this is really old. This is Delta Wing from 1984. Yeah, who knows why it's spinning. Alright, joystick control, Sinclair, Kempston. There we go. One base to start. Oh, okay. We've got a sort of a flight simulator here. And we need to accelerate. Okay, those I think are our guns. Is that true? Seems likely. So we're not going yet. We definitely need to figure out how to go. This seems like a flight simulator. What? We got brakes. We have radar controls. Damage report. Hang on a second. Yeah, we have limited ammo. I'm detecting ambition. You press what, I think for undercarriage, not down, not on ground. Is that a flap control? Oh my god, that's a flap control. Get out of here. Come on. Come on, come on. There we go. Alright. So, how do we take off? E changes our radar distance. If we press up. Okay. Okay. Enter launches bombs. So I pressed that and it killed me, I think. Yeah. Let me look up the manual for this. Delta Wing Zx Spectrum. The idea of a proper combat flight sim on the Spectrum is pretty exciting. Okay, instructions. Okay, to take off, taxi until your airspeed is above 83 knots, full flaps, or 87 knots, no flaps. Okay, alright. This is a simulator. You can actually land to refuel and rearm. To land successfully, you have to have a vertical speed of less than 15 feet per second. If you're between 15 and 60 feet, your plane will bounce. If it's greater than 60, your plane will be destroyed. Your speed should be less than 200, ideally around 100, so flap should be down. Angle of attack should be less than 22%, which is equivalent to 2 notches on the artificial horizon. This was made by plane nerds. Wow. Wow. Huh. Man. Okay. All right. Here we go. Throttle is T and G. All right. So. All right. There we go. Airspeed climbing. Oh, a plane. Oh, no. Let's go ahead and put our flaps down. Okay. We need to hit 84 knots or so, and we should now be able to pull up. Okay. There we go. All right. So we're taking off. All right. And then let's... oh, no. Oh, no. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're about to crash. Your bases are totally destroyed. Okay, that's nice. All right. Let's try this again. Okay, full thrust. Okay, we're in afterburner territory. Oh, we didn't put flaps down, but that's okay. We're just going to take off at 87. Okay, there we go. This has a stall indicator, for Christ's sake. Let's put thrust down below war emergency power. All right. There's our guns. We also have bombs. Whoa, what happened? Oh, too fast with undercarriage down. Son of a bitch. Okay, U lifts the undercarriage. All right, let's go. What's that triangle over there? Huh. All right. War emergency power. Let's get off the ground. Okay, thrust down, undercarriage up, thrust down a little bit more. All right, gears coming up. Our flaps are up. We should be ready for flight. Let's gain some altitude here. Whoa. Are we being shot at? Or was that a... I don't know. Okay. So we've got far better control over our plane now. Let's go to our radar situation. I think there's somebody behind us. Oh. Plane. Nope, I think we passed him. There he is. Ooh, wow. Oh, man, it is really hard. At this frame rate, it is really, really hard to hit this guy. Or anything. But this is a genuine 3D flight simulator. It's not a good one, but it is one. Damn. Whew. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to make this good. Although we are going to try something here. We're going to go to General Options, set the emulation speed to 200. All right. Now, obviously, the game is going to run faster, but we're also going to have a much higher frame rate. And unfortunately, that does not improve it. All right, well, I tried. Let's go ahead and I just want to see, can we land? It'd be interesting if we could land. All right, so we're losing a lot of altitude now. Let's go ahead. Our airspeed is now down below. Oh, we're going to stall. Well, we should be gliding, though. Okay, airspeed increases. Okay, we're level. So I'm going to attempt to land. This game definitely does not model physics correctly. I should be able to pull up sharply when we hit about 2,000 feet per second. Ow. I think it actually did model the stall, but still. Okay. Our vertical speed is where it should be. Let's drop a bomb, just for fun. Bam, that was the bomb. Okay. Oh, there we go. Our vertical speed indicator is only 24 feet per second. That's good. That's where we should be. We're actually, theoretically, we're set up to land. And our airspeed is very, very low. Okay. This should be a successful landing. Unless it just won't let us land. Unless it's an airstrip. And I don't know how in the hell you'd ever find an airstrip in this game. Alright. Hey, we're on the ground. Let's fire our other bomb. And die. That didn't work. Alright. Well, everyone, I've been streaming for about 3.5 hours. It's time to go. This definitely makes up for the misery of yesterday's stream. God, that sucked. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bail. Gonna go put some cheese bread in the oven. Hopefully it's still good. I got it at Papa Murphy's 3 days ago. But it's probably good. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. It was fun. It was nice to talk about. Yeah, I just want to reiterate how funny it is to me that I played, you know, a functionally like $80 modern video game that tons and tons of people play, and got so mad that I had to delete the stream afterwards because I didn't like how mad I got. I thought it was a bad look. And then today I play a bunch of like miserable mid-80s ZX Spectrum titles, and all I could do is see the positive side of things. Like, what a difference. And I swear, it's not my attitude. Oh, man. So, anyway, thanks, everyone. It's been fun, and I'll see you in the near future. Hopefully I'll have a new video soon. It's been a rough time. But maybe this week I think I might shoot one. So, all right, everyone.